Hey, it's all yours.
There you go.
You look good behind that desk.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, feels good.
Not having thought the week would go so far.
Huh?
So that's not what I was expecting for the week.
It's all your fault. Start us off.
Trust me,
Hey, are we still alive?
Yes.
Okay.
Kids been home
I hadn't kicked it off, so we are.
3 weeks straight.
Did you go to There it goes. You gonna go to email? Yeah, I don't know why I was trying to get control over my phone.
So
Morning, Kevin.
Morning.
Yeah, we need some of your photos.
I've got a collection of about 20 at the courthouse through history. And talk to the Historical Society to have copyrights to
An old copy of the chunk of the, well, Saturday, is that?
Sandy, I was looking at
Excuse me?
No, sure, once we're.
Is it messing with the streaming or anything? Will that still good?
Nope, as long as we don't close out of that tab, we're good. We're still broadcasting and all that. Just don't X out of Chrome or.
I'll X out everything when I'm done.
Cool, I appreciate it.
Makes it really useful.
Just call me in.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy.
Hey, floor belongs to you guys.
Okay, so about the end of December, or end of every month is when Sebco tells us the bill's ready to go in. So we go in, we download it. I pull out from VIP all of the deductions for the coverage. So I go with the employee share, the employer share, and then add those all together, compare it to what Sebco's given us. And let's just say there's a huge, huge difference. And so that was a little nerve wracking considering, we spent 2 weeks of November going through, getting all those rates put in, changed for the first pay of December, trying to get it all ready. And we were already a little late this year because, we didn't get rates until mid-October, which is usually about 1st of September. So go in and there's almost, about a $98 to $136. Some are less, some are more, because they informed us, I just talked to Melissa on Thursday or Friday, and she acted like it was something that we should know, but I was not in this loop. They billed us by a flat rate. So they didn't bill us by the wellness, non-wellness rates that, were kind of on that sheet that everybody signed, and that's what we used to pull into that spreadsheet to split it all up, get the 85-15%, between county employee. But that doesn't match at all with what they actually billed us by. And they made it seem like we were aware that they were going to be billing by the flat rate, which, that was kind of like all news over here. So now we have to go back there and figure out how to.
They haven't been on a flat rate before, have they?
No, this is brand new. Because I processed it all like I always have.
What's the flat rate, the non-wellness rate?
So what it is like a percentage based on who completed wellness, who completed non. So they only have 4 rates: 2A family, 5A family, 2A single, 2A or family, you know what I'm getting at. But we separate that in between, job and family, regular county, and it all breaks down a heck of a lot more than that. So I just don't even really know where to go from here. Like, of course, we'll pay, what they need because we just pay it by payment request out of that purchase order anyway. But we're going to have to go back and deduct from the county share for the additional owed. And as well as make changes going forward for the rest of the year. This is how we're going to be billed for her going out. She said they no longer do wellness at all.
Right.
And then she said the only reason they had given us those rates before was pretty much just out of a courtesy, because that's how, we've always operated. Which I guess we just weren't aware that they did that as a courtesy, not to use as, your billing rates.
We have to decide if we're gonna separate those participating rates and non-participating rates ourselves.
Yeah, and so like what she suggested, because I asked her, I was like, oh my gosh, we've taken those old rates and we've split those up and that's what people all have agreed upon. Everybody's been all right with what's coming out of their check. But she suggested not adjusting the employee shares at all and just adjusting the county from here on out to match what they've built here. So like it would just be updating our spreadsheets, with what we've sent out already this year, but changing the total line to what the new totals reflect, and then just making sure all the employee share stays the exact same, and then just taking the hit, or some of them will be refunds.
Well, instead of making this more complex than it needs to be, can we just, can we figure out what percentage they paid, and does that equal out to a true wellness rate versus non-wellness rate for all participants?
Yeah,
Is there a way we can figure that out? How close is what they're billing us to that? Or is it all been increased to non-wellness charges?
What Madeline's done here is kind of give you a comparison of where we're at, what we have withheld from, or what we were operating within, based on the withholding from the employee and the employer's share under the rates we were using. And she's made a comparison against the new rate, which Sevco is charging us on the invoice. And you can see in the difference column, we can actually kind of go down at the bottom line, kind of see what the total impact is.
yeah,
And then we can do kind of a sort there by fund. You can kind of see the fund effect each month. About $17,000, I believe, right, Madeline?
it's actually about 10, because, so where it's $27,000 total difference. But 17,000 of that is regular billing adjustments, like between, we had to do refunds for a guy who held family coverage for 3 months longer than he should have because he didn't tell us he got divorced. And so it was like a $4,000 refund, and that really kind of messed up the totals.
So what's giving him a refund for? If he didn't tell you, it's not our fault.
I know, Sevco made me do it. I gotta go by what they tell me.
Sepco don't run on money, we do.
I know, I like to keep it myself. But the difference column, it's like we owe more on those that we have under the wellness rate, and there's refunds on the ones on non-wellness. So it's like are making non-wellness charge too high and wellness not enough. It's because on their end, they don't have that anymore. It's just averaged out. Like the way Melissa explained it was that their rates are just a complete average between who completed wellness and non-wellness. And I don't really know what their totals are, because usually it's really easy for me to tell whether, well, maybe they don't have somebody marked as wellness in the system like they should, so the bill's not generating right. But with this, with every single person being off, I can't even tell if they're all marked right in Sevco, but I don't think that would matter because that's not how they take billing into account.
That's the problem is they no longer do the wellness program.
Yeah.
So that's what got us stuck. That's what got everything all messed up in the first place.
Mhm.
What's the percentage of covered employees that participate in this?
I want to say, so there was it's like 580 total, and I want to say maybe like 250, 260 completed wellness.
So it's a significant amount.
Yeah, less than 50%, but
Yeah,
close.
still,
So we're pretty close to 50, well, I'm gonna say we're pretty close to 50% of doing it.
yeah.
Yeah,
What's the benefit, what's the amount benefit for those participating?
yeah, so in our current rates with how we bill, it's a $50 per month savings
Okay.
between wellness and non. And then when people do the wellness, like you can go on that Sydney app, their Anthem, you get $200 from Sevco for completing all these
They
things.
could
And so
still-
that's like, I think.
They could still have those benefits for doing that, right?
Mhm.
So if we were to do away with the wellness $50 per participant, there would still be financial benefits to the participant in the wellness through the Sevco programs, through
Yeah,
them participating in, some folks like wellness initiatives because of the financial gain of them. Some folks just like to do the wellness program because you get incentivized for walking in steps, you get,
Mhm.
it gets you to the doctor every year to make sure you're checking on yourself. So I'm not making a proposal, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You know, I wonder, there's a reason why Sevco moved away from billing based upon that. They must not be losing, you know.
Yeah.
Just something to think about.
I'm pretty sure it's an administrative issue, so,
Is it?
and, being on the board and Sevco's on the CCAO, so I think the issue that we're discussing here is who bears the financial incentives now that Sevco is stepping away from that, keeping track of that. And that would be us. And are we staffed to handle that? To do the administrative work?
Check your head, yes.
Yes, yeah. I mean, like, who else is gonna do it? That's my first thought. It's always me.
We're looking at staff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm asking a
Yeah.
question, I'm asking you if you have the capacity, because that's additional work for you.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Somebody else.
But unfortunately, it's not anything I'm not used to. I gotta change all the rates every year. This will just be, because we'll have to change the employer shares here before the January 17th pay to ensure that January's charge is with the excess owed from December, as well as whatever the new amount may be. And then we'll have to change them again before February 28th. But thankfully, that's a much larger time frame there. That's not really a rush kind of deal. But to make sure it charges right for February, and then that would be your new rate going forward.
You're gonna end up with all kind of phone calls come on the 18th.
Yeah, but luckily with the employer shares, like if we choose, not to make any changes to the employee shares, but just adjust employer, it's not that bad. A lot of people, they just have that set amount of money that they have in there, and they really kind of start to notice it more when their accounts start running low, or if there was. Sometimes it happens where somebody, elects coverage kind of later in a qualifying period, and we have to go back and charge a bunch. That's the only time they ever notice.
Which I guess that's one of the things is that you will have to develop some communication, just like you do every year when the rates change, to just kind of explain to the departments the additional impact that there will be on their current budget. That will mean more money will get charged to a budget throughout the year. And we can kind of show you what some of the impact of that will be to the general fund. I think what you showed me earlier on the general fund itself.
Bottom line is 10,000 a year.
Yeah, just a little less than 10,000. No, 10,000 a month.
10,000 a month.
10,000 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just
so
the month.
it's-
But I mean, for the entire county, the
7,800.
employer share for December was $890,000. So that's 1 month deduction. So 10,000, I don't know, it doesn't seem to me like,
Power change.
yeah, like as much as it could be. So here was for people charged out of general fund. This is the total increase, 7,760 number. I can't see 11 cents.
Yeah.
I never passed my exams.
So times 12 months, you're looking at what, less than $90,000 for the additional for the year for the
And-
general fund impact.
Like some of these, like that $7,000, look, we're already down to 5 because this person was left on the bill and Sevco issued, like there was a charge for it and we didn't. We had to refund their coverage, so there's nothing there. And there might be some other, like there's one that's a little bit more than actual and normal because that's a new employee who's paying us back, so it makes it look like he was paid more than he really
Right.
should have. So there's things like this all throughout that kind of are affecting the totals. But I mean, a lot of them are minuses too. Like all the non-wellness is trying to make it seem like we definitely did not. Or like that we paid too much for the wellness. No. Yeah, and then I set it up to sort by department too, and then, like even like job and family, I was gonna pull this and just send this to them to like let their ladies know, and I plan on kind of doing this for any of the large departments that create questions.
So on the wellness, they get a deduction of $50. Am I right?
So that $50 is just the difference between the biweekly payments, so there's a $25 difference
Difference
biweekly on between each wellness, non-wellness.
When do they receive that every month?
Yeah, that's just figured into the rates.
Weren't yesterday, but back in action.
Yeah, so say like the wellness family is $229.40 biweekly.
Right.
The family non-wellness for 2A is like $256 biweekly. So there's like a $25 difference. Twice a month.
You figured out a way how to straighten this out?
Yeah. Just adding all of the difference to the employer share and then going forward.
Does that mean the employees are paying less than 15%?
In some cases, it,
85.15?
so that's where it gets, because in some cases it might be, but in other cases it might not, because each one is different. Because I mean, like some are where the actual total's going down and we'll be taking less from the county. So then in that case, it'll make it look like the employee's paying more and the county's paying less.
That's typically the non-wellness participants.
The non-wellness ones are the ones that they'll be almost like refunds to the county. And then the wellness one, they'll be charged more. So wellness, it'll be employee paying less than 15%.
And then some of them do not, it's a small percentage, but some of them do not take the health insurance at all. They have dental and vision only.
Right.
And
There's
those
no
didn't change.
impact on those at all.
Then that changes again, so that, yeah.
Yeah, because dental and vision, they haven't changed those medical rates in years, so. But again, once we know where we're going, or how to even approach this, we're gonna go through the rates spreadsheet that we put together and send out in emails to let the county know and update that to these totals, and then we'll know what the actual percentages between each one will be. But I didn't really wanna go too far out of my way in doing all that yet, depending on what, kind of, we were able to work through.
Sounds good. Continue what you're doing.
Can do.
There's nothing else, what else are we gonna do? There's nothing else we can do.
Yeah, we gotta.
That's
figure it
like,
out.
they came here and told us 20%. The insurance was gonna go up 20%, and
Thank God it did not.
thank God it did not.
I think a program like this is well worth keeping around and incentivizing people to be more healthy. And I think that needs to be a fringe benefit of an employer program. So,
Well, if you eliminated the wellness program and then they're looking at rates from a percentage standpoint, that would only drive the rate up if you went to totally,
Right.
to no wellness program at all, right? So their rates drive up next year.
Yeah.
Correct? I mean.
Yeah.
so we would-
so they are
And-
still offering a discount in wellness.
Yeah, in a sense, yeah.
They're just not running the program.
It's just the way they break their rating.
And when I talked to Melissa, she seemed like she completely understood, we were still going to be doing wellness, non-wellness rates, but just that, we had missed the step where they weren't going to bill us that way. But going forward, if we actually knew, if they had provided this like earlier and this, we knew we could bill from, then we could have prevented all this. So, next year, we can still be able to have our wellness, non-wellness rates at the same percentage if they're able to just actually provide us with the rates that they'll bill us for.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think
Continue what you're doing, and
Deal.
if somebody has any questions, tell them to call the auditor.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'll send out emails to all my people too that, monitor that, so.
Sounds good.
being a motion and a second on that, or just go get it.
I don't know if we need a motion or
That
not.
might be a good idea.
Yeah, I need.
I'll make a motion that we continue to administer the program ourselves.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Approved.
I'm not that worried about it. I don't think you guys will hack me.
So will you guys be able to communicate that out in some type of a form letter from the commissioners, just explaining to the departments kind of what's occurred and that there will be an additional impact on their group insurance budget.
Send it to Kathy and that way Kathy can send it out.
Okay.
Send a letter out, something like that to Kathy, so we'll know what's going on.
And we can kind of help them know and quantify what that impact will be, and they can decide whether they want to just ride along the year, just make the adjustments at year end, or if they want to go ahead and try to make that adjustment now. At least they're aware.
Yeah.
And we can work with them and explain to them any specifics. Okay.
Sounds good.
Very
Works
good.
for
We
me, I
appreciate it.
appreciate it. You guys are gonna go put me to work now, huh?
Thank you very much.
Thank you. That was mine. Oh.
See you guys.
See you, Bradford.
Bye.
Thanks,
Thanks. You can stay on there.
Morning, Kevin. Morning. Warming up the new seat.
Yeah. Didn't stay cold for long. Jack, cut this one more.
Before you guys move forward, can I ask a few questions about the agenda?
It's up to the guy running the meeting.
Yeah, I got that. I think. 001-25, yes.
Speaking of which, have you elected your new president and vice president
That's nice.
next week? Okay. You're visiting Paint Creek Center Township?
Maybe.
Depends on the roads.
True. Are we still at level 2 or 1?
No, it's back to level 1. Like to George this morning and he put us back to normal.
So what's happening there?
What's happening where?
Center Township?
Paint Creek, we're gonna go to Elm Creek Road.
That sounds like.
Elm Cliff, Elm Creek is in Columbus, I'll be okay. Elm Cliff, and look at a slip.
Okay.
It's
So damage to a county road? Charleston Pike project?
Mhm.
What's happening with Charleston Pike?
replacing the bridge
That's a fun conversation.
over the railroad.
Okay,
A lot of moving parts to that.
Yeah.
that could be complicated then, not just some culvert.
Yeah, and not just the culvert, it's gonna be their reconfiguring the road out that way.
Okay,
So that the highway, the Charleston Pike will still be open.
maintain traffic while building the new,
Correct.
I should have stopped in at the engineer's tent at the fairgrounds then, to see what's going on. And proceed by force, county engineer,
That's to say, it's just,
is the county engineer kicking the doors?
No, the resolution never passed every year.
Yeah. resolution we pass every year.
What does proceed by force mean?
It's just something that the state came up with a wild name.
My understanding of it is that it means he doesn't have to come
To us,
every time.
every time you need something.
Legalese.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's the same thing with Kathy and Brad, having them to go down and pick checks up. We just do it once a year and they can go down and pick.
Gives the authority.
it's just a weird name for a,
I can send you a copy if you need a copy.
no, I just wanted to know what was he forcing?
He's not forcing you anything.
It's kicking the
Okay.
door.
Forcing Charlie to do his job.
So you'll be discussing Charleston Pike at 10:30.
Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, one. Do we need?
Oh, this is the, yeah.
I did.
That's right, I took Charlie. That's it.
So 2004.
And I think we have any bills.
No bills, no, then announced.
Just then and now, no bills?
I think that was a zero amount, then announced, no bills. Not until next week.
Go ahead. Let's,
Kathy, what's the last day of the week you're able to put something in the newspaper like an RFP to get it in for the weekend? Too late now, this week.
I might be able to, but
I'm trying to put a date on here for a visit, and I don't know. If you put it in today or tomorrow,
if I put it in, if I send it tomorrow, I probably will not be able to get it in by the weekend.
it has to run twice.
Do you want it to run on the weekend? Or does,
Excuse me?
do you want it to run on the weekend or does it matter?
I don't think it makes any difference, really. It just has to run twice. See what he said here.
Typically, they want it in by a Tuesday to make it by Saturday. So I'd say if we get it in this afternoon, it's probably gonna have to be probably Monday at the earliest.
It says for 2 consecutive weeks before the proposals were due. It has to run twice.
so that's run twice or for 2 weeks?
It has to run for 2 consecutive weeks before the proposals are due. So one week, one the next. It doesn't have to run every day for 2 consecutive weeks.
So
It could be 4 too.
Yeah,
I mean, what's the most popular day that somebody would get a paper? Thursday, maybe?
I don't know if anybody even gets paid anymore.
Sunday's paper's like $5 or something like that, they get the coupons.
Yeah. It doesn't matter to me, as long as if we could run it one day this week and one day next week.
Next week,
that'd be
yeah,
great, but I don't know if you can get it in time to run it this week.
I might be able to get it in Sundays, maybe,
That'd be next week though.
but that's true. I doubt if I can get it in.
All right, then I'll just
We only have 2 more days.
change this around a little bit.
Let's, proceed by force, county engineer. Following resolution was passed at the regular meeting of Ross County Board of Commissioners on June the
Did I change the date?
it still says 6th.
I'll change it.
Is Martin Luther King Day a holiday?
You can go ahead and sign it and I'll change it. Just mark it out, 8 on there.
Mark it out, put it on there.
And I'll change it on.
January the 8th, 2025, with James Lowe, Jack Peterson, and Barry Glass and lieutenants. This is resolution 001-25, whereas it has been determined that the Ross County Board of Commissioners that the health, welfare, and safety of the people of Ross County, Ohio can best and most efficiently be served by the force of law in matters pertaining to the maintenance, repair, construction, reconstruction of roads, bridges, and culverts in Ross County, Ohio. Hereby be it resolved by Charlie Orban, County Engineer, Ross County, Ohio, be and he hereby is authorized to employ labor and proceed by force of mount in matters pertaining to the maintenance, repair, construction, and reconstruction of roads, bridges, and culverts in Ross County, Ohio during the calendar year 2025, and be it further resolved that the Board of Commissioners of Ross County, Ohio reserve upon itself the right and authority to make all purchases of materials, equipment required for the maintenance, repair, and construction of the roads, bridges, and culverts in Ross County, Ohio during calendar year 2025, except under certain circumstances when the board may, from time to time, by resolutions, delegate such personal authority to the Ross County engineer. I need a motion, please.
So,
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Those would be resolutions 02 and 03. That's what 01.
No, I think that's what, is that for the general fund money?
The invoice to identify the
Yeah.
Yes. This is repaying the general fund, am I right?
Yes.
This is, Ohio Department of Transportation. This is a make payment to the state of, treasurer of the state. This is what we are paying, am I right?
That's what we were, that's what they're gonna talk about, I believe, when they come upstairs.
When they come up, okay.
We just need to make sure that that money is there in case the project runs over.
This is resolution 002-25. Jump bond fund moved to the general funds. Here, the Ross County Commissioners have paid in full all outstanding debts with a law enforcement project, and all bonds have been retired. And whereas cash balance of the bond fund is $3,600,000, or $3.6 million, as of January the. Still gonna keep that January 6th.
Yeah, that's.
January 6th of 2025, and then no further necessary for said bond. Therefore, the Ross County Board of Commissioners wish to transfer these funds into the general fund for use of capital improvement projects, and be it resolved that the board authorize the Ross County Auditor Jeff Lanier to transfer the cash balance as of January the 6th into the general fund of Ross County. Need a motion.
So,
second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. This is resolution 003-25, marriage license fee.
We have to do that every year because part of the money goes
Goes
this
from
year
to
and
domestic
part of the money is next year. Yeah. It goes to the domestic violence.
It's the same one under section 3113.34 of the Ohio Revised Code provides the maintenance or the mechanics for additional marriage license issuance fee and divorce filing fee to be collected, deposited in a special fund, expended and provided financial assistance to shelters of victims of domestic violence. Section 3113.35 Ohio Revised Code for the shelter of victims of domestic violence to apply for the Board of County Commissioners for the release of funds to be collected as a fee for the issuance of marriage license pursuant to Ohio Revised Code Section 3113.34 or fees collected in additional costs divorces, annulments, divorces, resolutions, and marriage actions received pursuant to Division D of Section 2303 .20.1 of the Ohio Revised Code and hereby used for the funds in the shelter as of November 23rd, 2022, the Ross County Board of Commissioners did receive an application from the Ross County Community Action Chillicothe, Ohio for the release of funds collected in Ross County pursuant to Section 3113.34 of the Ohio Revised Code during calendar year 2023 to be used as funding for its operation. Whereas the Board of County Commissioners has reviewed the qualifications for funding set forth in Section 3113.36 of the Ohio Revised Code for shelter of victims of domestic violence and the criteria established by Ohio Revised Code Section 3113.38 in the application of priority set forth therein to be considered as a basis for allotment of funds among shelters. Now, therefore, to be it resolved that the Ross County Board of Commissioners hereby approve the application of the Ross County Community Action Received Said Fund to be collected by the Ross County, to be collected in Ross County for the calendar year 2025. And resolve that these funds estimated at a total of $19,000 be paid twice annually to the Ross County Community Action according to the following schedule. Actual funds collected from the first day of January through the 13th day of June 2025 shall be dispersed to the shelter on the 15th day of July 2025. The actual funds collected on the first day of July through the 31st day of December of 2025 shall be dispersed to the shelter by the 15th day of January of 2026.
So, second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.
That was a rough.
Good job. Should have known we were somewhere. Got it.
Of the resolution.
Should have resolution number 2.
Crazy.
Expected, waiting on a guy to come pay the sewer.
Waiting on somebody to knock
Waiting on
us out, huh?
somebody to come pay the sewer bill.
Morning.
Tim, how we doing?
Good. Hi, Kathy.
Let's see, proceed with the Fort County engineer did that. Need a motion for any staff authorized to pick up checks for the audit. All in favor, say aye. Appointments of representative of the following boards. Board of Directors of Community Action. I'm already on that, am I right?
You are, yeah.
You want to keep going?
I like to keep that.
So,
That's a second, sorry.
All in favor, say aye.
Sorry, I was looking for the, yeah, this.
No. Community Juvenile Detention Center,
I got that one, and actually all three of us are on.
all
that.
three of us is on that.
Yeah, but I'm on the executive board.
Okay.
I like to keep that
Executive Board for Emergency Management Agency,
on that one as well.
you want to stay? Taxes Center Review Council. We're all on that category.
All three of you are on it, but there's, one that should be appointed to actually always be there.
I
Typically, we've always taken turns.
do that, Donna.
You
Yeah, I'll continue doing it. Law library.
I'll take it.
David, yeah.
I want to be an honorary Esquire though.
We, need a representative and executive and an alternative, I'll give it there. An alternate for, CCAO.
That was me and you last year. I'd like to continue as the primary.
I'll make David the alternate.
Second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Ross Chillicothe Convention and Visitors Bureau.
I'd like to nominate David.
I'll second.
Aye.
I was the one who got kicked off with me and Mary to go.
Oh, you got to
I was on both.
You got the vote.
Greater Chillicothe, Ross County Development. Dwight was on that. David, you can have that too.
Second, those are the ones I'm.
What is that, the Greater Chillicothe?
Yeah, Greater Chillicothe for David. Community Improvement Corporation, we don't have David on that because they usually work together.
Second.
All in favor, say yeah.
Aye.
Convention Facilities Authority, Dwight was on that. That all goes together.
That's what the Visitors Bureau, right there.
Make a
Brad.
motion.
I'll do that.
David,
Does he need a receipt?
I'll just tell them they're available.
Who's it for, the main?
No, here, yeah.
I'm sorry.
All right, thank you.
World Heritage Ambassador.
Okay.
You got that one?
What is it?
World Heritage Ambassador.
Second one.
All fair say aye. Yes, got that. Southern Ohio Job and Family Services, we're all in that. What you do, I usually get it.
There's an executive committee to that. We're all on that.
Yeah. Southern Ohio Job and Family Services, we're all on that. First one, Executive Board, we're all here. For Southern Ohio Job and Family Services. The Executive Board,
We're all on that one too.
well, it's got Dwight down here, but you have Southern Ohio Job and Family Services for all of us.
I'll take that.
So if you don't, I take it because I do them all.
I can move on.
I know, we'll give to you, Jack. Sounds good. You get all that, Kevin? I got it. Mark on one. Emergency Management Agency. Jack's on that now.
Got that.
You want to keep that? Okay.
And the other can see.
Downtown Development Commission.
That, I disbanded that. So that doesn't exist anymore.
So we're not,
That was a commission that I started when I was and Tiffany's doing a great job with downtown Chillicothe, and it does exactly the same thing. So it's redundant.
so we're no longer going to do that. That's correct. Region 9, One Ohio Board, that's Jack. We'll keep them, Jack.
Yeah.
Law Library is David. Hope Partnership, still want to keep that?
Yeah.
Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission, Executive Committee, you want to keep that? Jack's still keeping that.
And the membership board, we're all,
Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission, County Caucus, we're all on that. take the white off. Community action is me, I'll keep that. JDC board, executive board, I'll keep that. Jack's gonna keep that. Juvenile detention center, we're all three on that. Board of revisions, all three of us is on that, but I usually handle them, so we just,
That's like an 8-hour meeting at a pop when it happens, right? That's like a whole day.
what, it all depends how many people want their property taxes down.
So it's a pop.
Yeah, yeah.
right now.
I usually get it to, so all three of us will be on that, but I usually get to it, so. I'll just leave it like it is. Land bank, Jack and Dwight was on that. Jack, you wanna keep that? Maybe you want on that?
That happens during.
So, yeah, we're all here.
Ross, Pickaway, Highland, Fayette, Solid Waste District, we're all three on that. Ohio Valley Regional Development Commission, County Caucus, we're all three on that. Investment Advisory Board, we're all three on that. Dwight, all. Right. Planning Commission, we're all three on that. Data Processing Board, we're all three on that. Ohio University Extension, and that's me, and I'd like to keep that. District Planning, Planning Committee, Soil and Water District, I'm on that now. I'll keep it if nobody else wants it.
I'm on 34, just told me I don't need it.
Okay, I'll keep it. I was gonna give it to you then.
No.
I'm not gonna give it to you. Area Agency on Aging District 7 Advisory Committee. Council. I'm on that. Nobody wants to jump on that? No. Okay, looks like I'm keeping that.
We get, is that attached to the local?
Well, see, they're really not attached to them. They really don't answer to them. They don't answer to anybody. That senior citizen doesn't answer to anybody.
According to the bylaws, they
Answer to us.
big time.
They have it,
Yeah.
but they have it. That's the problem with
No,
it.
that's a conversation we need to have.
You know, and that's like, you know, we got that, shoot, I'll think of it in a minute. That fund form,
The grant.
you know, that grant form for $380,000. They were supposed to help out Bainbridge,
Yeah.
Bainbridge, Adelphi, and all that. Well, they paid the freaking parking lot out there.
Yeah.
And I like to see their bus. Well, they haven't had an audit or anything like that in a long time.
They're supposed to show, we're supposed to submit that to us. And, my biggest frustration is what you said. We've got, if you don't live in Chillicothe, and you're an elderly person, you live out toward Adelphi where I live, or out toward Bainbridge where you, that's a long drive. Especially for someone older who's, we're a big county and we need to figure that out. And they need to do what they need.
It's one of the things, that, you know, when I went there to one of their meetings, and the people from Adelphi and Bainbridge and stuff like that was there. And I asked them then, I said, do you guys already make trips out to Adelphi to deliver meals? And they said, yes. Well, if you're delivering meals out to the Adelphi area anyway, take an extra 10 meals with you, drop it off at the village hall. They're already going out that way anyway.
Are they?
No, they're making deliveries out there, but they're not taking the extras so the people can, because Josh has already given permission to use the village hall to have a get together and not charge them.
Yeah. I don't wanna micromanage them and.
Well, somebody has to.
But that, what I was to say is, they're getting millage, right? They're recipients of
Yeah, of a
of
levy.
a levy. And so there's gotta be some oversight on our part to make sure that it's being done the way it needs to be done. And
You got a director making 6 figures.
When do we forward that money to? Is that done at the beginning of the year, is that done a monthly basis?
Let's get with
honestly, I
Jeff to
don't know.
find.
Jeff, a few weeks ago, he mentioned something, or did he email?
It probably goes into their budget, I would,
I would say.
at the first of the year.
But I mean, Jeff Marks, he weighed in on this at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was, something about the term, you have to make the decision 6 months before, and it's a July thing. His recommendation was, we don't need to do that now, because that, in my opinion, would be a drastic, big step to say, let's just, but we need to start the conversation with them on the course.
But we need to, listen, we need to get them down there so they can.
Do you want me to get them on the agenda in a
Yes.
couple weeks here?
Maybe not next week, but.
You want the entire board, do you want to,
Or just the director.
the director first?
Nobody knew who was on the board when I was out there.
They've never told us.
And they had,
Request-
I would like to have the director and the board.
That's a lot of racing. But we're not gonna race the whole time, we're gonna race for about 2 weeks and then we'll just go on vacation.
Do they still have candidates or meals up there?
Yeah, Emily was telling me that in the conversation.
I just had
Number seven, on that line, and more.
Yeah, so.
What was that?
And get away from this.
Yeah, you and I forget, we were talking.
When I ran for mayor, I went to serve lunch at City out there during one of their.
Oh, yeah. They had, for Thanksgiving, they had Christmas.
You better enjoy what I can,
They have meals out there about every day or week.
huh? I was on the.
You're in Chillicothe.
They had meals every day.
That's what I-
And then people who don't eat meals there, they have like a drive-through.
That's gonna come.
I think you're allowed to
How do you get your
do it,
A1
but
C
you
down?
can't.
Yeah, you can't campaign.
You can't,
Yeah,
work
sure.
I don't know.
handing out your, but.
George,
George.
George was out there for Thanksgiving.
No one's wondering who he's working with.
But anyway, we need to find out who contact to come in here and talk to us. President of the board out
Their director is.
We don't have them. That's the board stuff.
What's their director's name?
Jody,
Yeah. Who knows what their last name is now? Yeah, we got some more.
I was like getting here.
what is her last name? Do you remember now?
It's not Riley, is it?
Yeah.
It was
Is
Jody
it
Ryan.
now?
It's changed twice.
It's changed twice since she's been out.
The girls are gone, it's just me and her.
I don't know, that's probably who we need to talk to, because
The girls went back to school.
we were in touch, someone around here was in touch with their lawyer too. But it was daughter,
I'm pretty.
had a conversation.
What do you mean, what?
They requested some
I'm blessed.
their contract or their, and maybe it was.
I saw that
But then
email
they-
too.
Then they said it was,
Then my best friend, we're
there was a
all.
conversation, I'm talking to a bunch of people, and I can't remember the details, it's been a month ago. But they were trying to make the case that it wasn't public record, which I don't understand how it could not be public
It's public record. They're getting
public.
fun. Yeah, they're getting fun.
Was that Jim Barrington? Remember who it is? I thought that attorney was Jim Barrington.
Yes, yeah. Local guy, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, that's who it is, yeah.
they were trying to say they weren't a public entity, so it wasn't public record. But they, I don't know how you couldn't be if you're funded with public funds.
Even if you're a private entity,
And Charlie knows me.
there's a portion of your, I believe, there's a portion of some things that would be considered public records. Like your budget, which the contract says they're supposed to submit their finances to us.
That
I think
contract's
yearly or
pretty
every other year.
specific. That contract's pretty specific.
Yeah.
And I know as a fair board president, we get public funds. We feel like we're a public entity. So anybody asks for our, whatever, we provide. We don't hide
Yeah,
anything.
we have an agreement with them, they provide.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
So your 1 year breach of their breach of
No, I
contract.
didn't talk to David.
I would like to hear somebody make a case for why they wouldn't be willing to share. If you don't wanna tell me something, it makes me wanna go.
But that's like getting on their
secret.
getting on their webpage. They don't even have, when they have their meetings or, anything, they don't have who's on the board. When I went to that meeting out there,
You
I
can't
couldn't, you couldn't find out who was on the board.
Yeah, no, they wouldn't even share that information.
Yeah.
I don't wanna get all spicy about it, but that's some conversation. I wanna give them a chance to.
Well, we have to figure out our leverage.
I know that Dwight tried many times to get them to come in here and talk, and they refused to do it. I think you ought to have Jeff send them a letter and say, you know, here's your contract, here's what you're supposed to be doing. You need to come in, we are demanding that you come in and speak to us about this company.
Or, I mean, the ultimate leverage that we have is we get in there. They wouldn't steal my understanding, that's what we need to get understanding from Jeff. But if we ended the contract, what happens? My guess would be that revenue, the way the ballot language was described, is that it's meant to go towards senior citizens.
Correct.
I wouldn't think, we wouldn't have an outlaw within that contract if we didn't have some alternative way
To do something.
to do something.
Something.
I think that's a drastic step, I don't think I don't wanna make that our predetermined outcome, but they need, if they refuse to come in, I mean, if they're not even willing to come and explain what they're doing and meeting the obligations of their contract, then.
When I first started, she would come in once a year and give a report. But
I wouldn't know her if I saw her. I don't know.
I wouldn't either.
I wanna say she hasn't been in 10 years.
Is the same person that's in charge?
Same person. She's been there a long time.
You've been.
I wanna say-
Three different names.
I wanna say she's been there since Easter Day left, and he's the one who started it. It's been there a long time.
We gotta get this back on the rails.
Because, I mean,
People are not being served.
you're absolutely right. I mean, that's what, that's one of the grant, that is part of the grant money that we got, and we told them, we told the people in Bainbridge, we told people in the Delaware.
It was written into the grant.
It was written into the grant that it was supposed to be.
So, people need to be served, that's what got me interested in this to begin with. Now that we've kind of started looking into it even further, I've got more and more questions, and I'm now more greatly concerned about the fact that they might be unwilling to come in, and they haven't kept their obligation around submitting their financials to the county. Because if you've been there for 10 years and you used to do it, what happened and what caused you to stop there?
Yeah, something happened with the money.
So do you want Jeff Marks to come in prior to setting a meeting with them? So you can discuss the
I think that'd
contract?
be a good idea.
Yes.
I think if we could have them come in a working group or something, just,
We're gonna make that.
awesome.
The commissioner's line. The budget was good. Hey, we don't have any bills, but we have, then and now.
It's $0.
Okay, I was just
It's going through the procedures.
we don't need to do this. But see,
It's 0.
Nothing to see here.
let's, this is from the engineer. Escrow account for a bridge. $2,174,773. Increase appropriation for escrow account required by ODOT, federal project. County Road 222-4.0 02 Charleston Pike Division rehab. $2,174,773. I need a motion.
So,
Second,
All in favor, say aye.
that's what we discussed last week. And the week before, right? For Charleston Pike.
That goes, that invoice goes to that county.
almost.
This is to, from US 23 Majors Crime Task Force, other cost, $24,000 to allow for the lease of 8 flock cameras in the 2024 Recovery Ohio grant. US 23 Major Crime Task Force.
So security cameras? 8 security cameras?
I don't know what a 8 flock cameras are.
Who's asking for it?
Jason Gannon.
I don't know either. He's just, is that just a request, because he hasn't submitted
It's a
anything?
request for $24,000.
Yeah, he hadn't submitted anything, want me to call him, find out?
But that's a Ohio recover, that's a grant fund.
Yeah, it's a grant fund. It's from Ohio Recovery Ohio grant.
Still kind of like to know where that lot's at.
So you're using the grant money to buy those cameras? Is that what
Yes.
you're saying?
Is that
Yeah, he uses the grant money, you buy
No,
the cameras.
Jason Gannon
It's
is,
a lease,
he's the person in charge of
the
the
task force.
task force. So maybe they're putting those cameras, I don't know what kind of cameras they are.
I don't
Find
even,
out.
they're going on a single.
Call Jason Gannon.
They're going on a single.
Calling Jason Gannon.
no, it just says the lease of 8 flock.
Oh, I thought you said what a flock.
Yeah, flock cameras. I don't know what a flock cameras are. I don't know, but they're using the money from grant money.
They're using grants.
We'll hold up on that and find out what he has to say.
They basically
Commissioners
run
are reviewing a document that was sent in for
for an appropriation.
an appropriation for your grant money. Can you explain to them what you're using this for?
Which grant is it?
$24,000 for cameras.
That's the flock cameras that are connected or license plate readers that can be searched. It's like other cameras throughout the state of Ohio and the United States.
I don't get it. Got questions?
That's good.
Yep, I'll make a motion.
Thanks, Jason, appreciate it.
All in favor, say aye.
Now you know what a flock is.
No,
I
Still don't know.
It's a thing they stick on the cars, that if you drive by another car and it picks the license plate up.
Okay, they're on the rear of the.
And if nationwide, if they're on the lookout for them, it pops up and says, arrest.
Okay, yeah.
Planning and development, contract services. This was left off of the 2025 budget sheet, represents balance of unexpended funds in 2024 needed to be
It's the comprehensive plan.
comprehensive plan, $544,750,000.
So,
Second,
so grant.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. This is from,
Those are cash is that the cash
this is
transfer
transfers
from the auditor's office?
from the auditor's office. We'll transfer $3,357,306.67.
The balance of budget.
Yeah. And take it to L, take that out of LE, $28,125,000, $46,850, and $40,000. For a grand total of $3,472,281.67.
Taken out of the law enforcement.
Right.
Yeah, that was the balance of it.
Yes.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
This is from another transfer again, Boca. General fund, $22,289.50. This is a grant. Boca is for courts. Need a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor, say aye. Release of Ross County 2025 operating grant from the general fund. $285,000 is going to go to Park District. $88,000 go to the EMA. $275,000 goes to the water and soil. Excuse me. An amount of $648,000.
So moved.
All in favor, say aye. Here is a invoice from JDC. $43,869.26.
Okay.
Okay,
Second.
So moved, yeah. Jeremy, about that.
so we go in. This is for a septic system replacement at 1999 Black Revenue, Chillicothe, $11,973.90 for total for replacement. And 684 Cox Road, Chillicothe for repair of $4,500 for a total of $16,473.90. This comes out of the Water Pollution Control Loan Fund.
That was one of the projects on the grant that came.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah, so
Second.
All in favor, say aye. January 19th, Jubilee Day, and observe the birthday of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. on Sunday, January 19th, 3 o'clock, First Baptist Church on West 4th Street.
I'll go with that.
I'll be there. I can't attend, but I wish I could, because I really like Pastor Memphis. I think that's, I'll be there.
January the 3rd, your commissioners, this is from the Fisheries Bureau for Melvin.
For a good part of that.
I'm writing to inform request for appointment of 3 individuals to the Ross Chillicothe Convention Bureau Board of Directors. These appointments are essential to fulfilling the board's bylaw requirements. Proposed appointments are David Glass of the Ross County Commissioners, filling the vacancy of Dwight Garrett. Andrew Hall to fill the vacancy of the Ross County Historical Society seat, which has been vacant since Mr. Baker left the society. Kathy Payne to fill the appointment vacancy of City representative position.
Do we have the authority to appoint the city? I thought that was one of the hangups that they had, was that the city wasn't appointing their representative. Or am I way off?
I think Kathy's already got it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think she's already,
I think she's already did it.
so I'll make a motion to approve all three of these.
Need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. This one, Ross County Health District. Ross County Health District is requesting local matching funds for the Ross County Mobile Management Program for a new program year beginning July the 1st of 2025. Ross County Health District Mobile Management Program is partially funded by a grant from the Ohio Department of Transportation. We would like to take this opportunity to ask if your agency would be willing to contribute $6,100 in matching funds.
I'll make a motion to approve that investment.
So we're matching their funds and they can't match their own funds?
I think that's part of the matching funds. They're asking several people for help with this.
What is it though?
It's transportation for people that need rides to medical appointments.
I think last year we gave them $5,000. I think we've given them 5,000 several years in a row for this.
That's what I was thinking. We didn't, I've never heard of the 61.
Usually they come in here and
Maybe.
explain it.
Legislation.
I have a motion of $6,100.
Oh, yeah. There's motion, I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Sorry.
Brad, you got anything?
I do. This is the RFP for the cleaning services, cleaning services at the Ross County Service Center. Welcome to review that if you like what I've got there. I'd like to get that in the newspaper. So I was talking to Kathy about earlier. I'm working on you'll see on the last page, it talks about an addendum or an attachment. I'm working on that now to make sure that I get the numbers that I need the way I need them, because some of those agencies out there get billed separately. We pay the bill, but then we invoice like Job and Family Services for their portion of the building. So I need them to break that down when they submit their proposal. So that's what I'm working on now. But I'm ready to submit that and get that online. If you guys think it's okay, you can take a look at it. Just let me know by the end of the day if you would. I have a meeting with Ben this afternoon to talk about the airport RFP. So hopefully I'll have that in a day or two too for you guys to look at next week. And then let's see what else do I have here. I will say, I know I sent you guys an email about how hard they work, those maintenance guys.
Yeah.
Since I've been here, we've never had 10 inches of snow. And I mean, they work Monday, they came in at 2 o'clock on Monday, 2 o'clock in the morning on Monday and on Tuesday. And then I held them over yesterday to get started on the airport. And you talk, I've never seen so much snow in all my life. We asked Charlie for some help and he couldn't give us any, so I ended up getting the backhoe and the operator from the fairgrounds to come help us. I mean, we've got a pile of snow out there as tall as Mount Rushmore.
There's a lot of concrete out there.
It's a lot of concrete, you're right. So they're back out there today finishing up. We couldn't get it all done yesterday. But believe it or not, while we were out there yesterday, there were people calling in asking if they could land there today, yesterday. Like, my God, have you looked around, guys?
Probably not a lot of other places to land.
No, there probably aren't. And then let's see, this week we've got, I got your stuff rescheduled. I think you saw that. I have that on the calendar so that it keeps popping up
Yeah, it went from weekly to monthly to.
whenever they feel like it.
Yeah, now whenever they feel like it. But she was bringing the director from the One Ohio State group down to talk to us.
I see.
And got shuffled up.
So, the rest of the week is pretty thin. Next week, we've got a meeting with, the Port Authority that I go to. Somehow I got to be the president of that board. I don't know how that happened.
That's good, congratulations.
Thank you. We have a sewer project meeting next week. We're meeting with the contractor for the jail, to get them started. We had to reschedule that because the VAD folks couldn't make it down. We had it scheduled, so.
So we have a contractor for that?
We have a contractor, we have a contract signed.
We'll probably hire somebody else to be a subcontractor on that.
They're gonna have the same company here in Ross County that put the metal on the walls in the infirmary do this, which is M&M Fabrication, which is a Gary Timmons locally owned company, which I'm really happy about. They did a great job for us before, they'll do a great job again.
I want to be here when they try to put them panels inside.
Well, they'll cut them small enough where they can get them in there. They know what they got. These guys did it before, they'll figure it out. They're pretty sure.
Just carry 4x8.
I thought they was gonna put them in. I want the whole 4x8 sheet in there. I want them to stick it well through the window.
They'll do whatever they have to do, and they'll weld the rest of it together. And then I have that, in that proposal, I'm gonna meet with these contractors so they can walk through the building and see what they have to do. So that's what I have for next week. And I didn't realize we were off on the following Monday on the 20th, Martin Luther King Day. I didn't even think about that. Popped up on the calendar this morning.
Following board meeting on Tuesday. I'll be absent that week.
We are, we got the contract signed for the restoration. I saw where you're gonna be able to do something on Friday. Devin said something on Friday. I'm shooting for 10 o'clock, but I haven't heard anything from the guy at Schooley Caldwell yet, so I'll send him another email. I sent him an email at the same time I sent it to you guys. I haven't heard. I'd like to do it at 10 o'clock. That's before your meeting. This one will be pretty simple. The bigger one will be after we decide who we're gonna interview, that we sit down with 2 or 3 of them and interview.
And my meeting 10:30 to 12, or 11:30 to 12:30.
If we start at 10, we should be done real quick. You've already looked through yours, I've looked through mine. Devin, I think said he was halfway through, and I think the guy's name is Brian Keegan at Schooley Caldwell. If he's looked through his, I mean, it'll basically just amount to putting a grade on all that, and then contacting 3 of them or 2 of them, whatever we like to, see who we want to pick for that job.
But is somebody from Caldwell, Schooley Caldwell gonna be in that meeting?
Yeah, because I was hoping to have 5 people on that committee. We were gonna use David, but the way things moved away, the attorneys didn't want 2 commissioners on there at the same time.
Right, okay.
So we did it with 4. So the 4 of us can make a recommendation to the board and to interview however many we decide we want to interview. We got 8 submissions. We don't have to, we could just say this is the one we want. But usually you interview 2 or 3 to see, out of the 8 that you got, there's some pretty talented companies there, I think. So.
And they'll help us out as in picking that.
Well, I've talked to Kalpa about this already, what she thinks. She looked at the list and she said, there's some really good folks on here. There was one that she's worked with that she had some concerns about, just because they've worked on other projects with them. Seemed to nickel and dime. They seem to, lots of change orders. She said, I really can't say, but if you pick them, then I'll say. So we'll see. That's really all I have for today so far.
we get an answer from Jeff Marks on that land, that house, when
No, and I brought it up to him again last week too.
the hangar thing too?
And I haven't, well, the hangar thing, I'm working on with Ben, because I can't, you know, he just doesn't have the time. You're talking about purchase of the land lease out there. No, I talked to him about both of those. He mentioned them when he was in here last week, but that's as far as we are. I know he's busy. And he's shorthanded, I think, too, so.
Haven't heard anything about out there.
No, that's the piece I'm working with Ben on. I think we just need to get that, get the RFP out for that fixed base operator and let them submit their stuff too. I spent the whole day out there with our guys yesterday, and I talked to both of those gentlemen a couple times. But they still act like they don't know anything and nothing's sold. They did empty out one of the hangars that Jim had. And Kathy's already rented. I think that was the one you signed last week, you guys, so wasn't that the one? But they've got fuel trucks parked on the tarmac.
That's what I said, and when I was out there 3 weeks ago or so, and there was,
And they turned down Dryden for putting his new plane in the big hangar for whatever reason. I don't know. The only thing that's in there is the Life Flight helicopter.
helicopter.
And it flew out 2 or 3 times yesterday while we were there. But that's all that's in there. And I don't know why they wouldn't rent it. He said something about, well, it was Jim's hangar and, Jim turned this over to me and blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, it's not being run.
No, not the way we need it to be. So,
That's what I said, because them guys know about the fuel thing, but they don't know anything else about what's going on out there.
well, they know. I mean, Danny Cash runs the airport pretty much. Stan pretty much runs the fuel part, but supposedly Stan's in charge of it all. But they're not doing anything to make it better. We need to do some stuff to make it better.
Yeah, they're just following along with what Jim did.
Yeah.
Like I said, when I was out there, they had them trucks all over the freaking,
Well, there were probably 5 or 6 fuel trucks parked in the corner of the tarmac.
yeah, that was there when I was there.
And then there's stuff on their property on the outside along Stone Road there, across from your friend there. There's some stuff there too. So I don't know what they're doing. I don't know if they're just waiting until they close on the deal or what, because the last time I talked to them, they said they had not closed.
But the thing is they need to know that they may not be,
Well, I've tried to make.
they may not be the people who's putting fuel in the ground at the airport out there.
Yeah, that's not even so much the issue. It's just they don't need to be running that avgas business out of the airport.
Yeah.
We need to have those hangars built. We need to have lessons. We need to start thinking about other development out there.
What's going on out there.
Stuff that we've all talked about.
Yeah.
Just need to get going.
So, still like to, would want to meet with that advisory board,
Yes, the zoning board,
yeah, zoning board up there.
you were gonna put that together, right?
Yeah, we'll get them scheduled for shortly.
Just get another opinion from people that matter out there.
Yeah, between them and the pilots that are out there now, I mean, there's a group of them that would love, would come in again and talk to you, but you've already heard them once.
Well, my thing is that's like, building out there. We got a guy who wants to build a building out there. And, he wants to get it started. That's my thing.
Yeah.
Want to get a good answer on that.
You have to get some Eskimos to build out here right now, because I'm telling you what, the wind blows across that place like nothing.
Yeah,
Ever
it's-
seen. Cold out there yesterday,
Like it's out on Fayette County. Because I'm flat up that way.
Flatlander. That's all I have.
I did want to you said it in the email again, but our county maintenance guys.
They do a good job.
They do good.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Our
And I
engineers
passed your
office-
emails on to them.
They do a good job.
Yeah, they do.
As always.
Yeah, our
Ryan was on TV.
I saw that.
engineering drivers, could have got a lot more done if they weren't interrupted.
Yeah,
Especially that one, he was kind of driving at that day.
yeah.
That's your son-in-law?
Charlie put me with him. I said, put me with whoever you want. but, he does my route right by my house. And that was eye-opening to me, not just being in the truck, but the collaboration that happens between our county engineer and the township trustees to have these outposts of material. I mean, that is critical toward, quick recovery on that. And
Yes, sir.
like you said, 10 inches, I think 12 inches in some places. I think I got a foot of snow in my.
We had drifts at the airport that were 2 feet.
And, the funny part of it is, you go 5 miles north of me, they got half of the snow.
Yeah, that's funny. Huh?
But we got hit, and I think everyone across jurisdictions did a really good job of getting everything back. School's still closed, but I mean, there's some spots, bus turnaround, things like that.
Well, they're predicting more snow for Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know, I've seen everything from
Next
1 to 5, so.
And they're talking about something this weekend.
After the Fridays.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
I hadn't seen that.
That's not going.
I thought we was talking about having snow tonight.
Well, it's not going anywhere as cold as it is.
I just said, we just, somebody comes up to my house, comes in the back door, but when you get on the back step, be nice and gentle, because I got about
How much
half
I-
inch thick ice.
Like Home Alone, you got.
I was tiptoeing out this morning.
But no, I think I was impressed with everyone and with George, communications on what folks need to know.
Sarah must went home.
They called. Okay. Actually, he dropped her off at the emergency room. She must have that neurovirus. She's got something in her.
Yeah, she shouldn't.
So she should not come get
Sarah. I'd like to sit and talk to her, tell her what our plans are for her.
Yeah, Dwight and I talked to her a little bit last week.
I'd like to, so she would know what the plans are. No.
Do you guys have any comments on that job description I wrote?
Is Jeff back?
No.
I think there's some that could probably, because right now Brad does most of our communities.
You, Kathy.
And I think that all of this, because they already know who they're supposed to call when they come in here.
Well, she advises them, she doesn't replace them.
Right.
So if there's something where we're trying to collaborate on
Jeff said to you.
a message that's gonna come out in harmony, we need to, they can talk about it.
Yes, doing
Happy New Year.
Yeah, everything good?
Well, you know, I kind of, to be honest, you
Family
know,
all good out there?
as long as I've been
Family all good?
13 years.
It was awesome.
We never closed the courthouse. So I had no idea, really what,
Co-partners.
how to get a hold. Plus, we got, we got 2 new elected officials. Do I call Kathy to tell her not to tell the people to come in?
Well, that was, I mean, my phone was blowing up.
Was it?
Because there was folks going, well, what's the, that is maybe a post-mortem on the snow is how do we communicate
We
what
need-
our policies are? Do we have a policy of if it's a level? Obviously,
No, we
it's
don't.
understood,
We should.
but.
But the thing is, if it's a level 3, we're not essential personnel.
Well, just like when you called me and said, you know, that the sheriff was gonna leave the 3 on until the morning.
Right.
You said the courts were closed. Well, when I put the press release out to Litter Media and some of the others, all of a sudden, somebody sent me something on Facebook and said, juvenile court's not closed. They're gonna have court on Tuesday.
It's almost one of those things where we can, my position is we can say what the commissioners are doing. And that should be something for everyone else to say, well, the commissioners are, but we're not in charge of what Jeff does or Charlie or any of the elected department heads.
That's like, when I talked to George about he was gonna keep the level 3, he said that, he told me then that Ader and Smith canceled their court already. And he said I hadn't got word from Benson yet about Benson closing juvenile court. And I said, okay. I said, if they're closing and you're on level 3, we're not essential.
Yeah.
There's no sense of us.
Exactly, right.
Well, and here's kind of the issue with that too. So if they, let's say those 2 gentlemen you just mentioned, close stuff downstairs. We locked the door. You know,
No,
so then
because
we're shut off too, so there's no sense in us being here. And it's kind of the same way, you know. I'm not sure how, we gotta have a policy. We gotta think this through and figure it out. Because, you know, like, there was a time when both David and Jeff shut their office down. Kathy had a hairy connection because they were gonna lock the door and she didn't have any way to get people into her office. She wanted to stay open, but then the map room was closed, you know, so we really do need a
That's fair,
policy
Rick,
on how to shut it down if we're gonna shut it down.
Yeah, we do.
That's
a big challenge. Level 3, I think you just shut it down.
Well, then I started thinking about all the folk, you know, we got the building department, we got the dog board, we got other people that aren't inside the courthouse, but if you're gonna shut the offices down,
They're
all
shut.
those people have to be notified.
And I
My thing
think
is-
other organizations are looking toward us that
Yeah.
aren't directly under us, but.
If it comes up to level 3 is essential personnel and emergency personnel. That's all supposed to be on the road.
Right.
That is it, period. And that's, you know, that's state law says you're not supposed to be on the road.
Right.
You don't need a policy. You don't need a policy.
Yeah, I just said, you don't need to be on the road in the
First
first
level
place.
to be shut down, and the answer I got was
Level 3,
Yeah.
yeah.
Level 3. We come on level 2.
Well, and on a level 2, you might make the decision under your discretion and say, maybe I'll have a skeleton staff, maybe I will close. But that's up to each individual authority to say,
Right.
we're gonna close. Because the risk on that is if a resident, if a citizen kind of braves the snow because they have to go get some service from the county, someone's gonna have to explain why it's closed and they didn't know why.
Well, maybe this is a good time to talk about, you know, working from home. Because I did a lot of work in the last few days. I mean, whether I was working with the maintenance guys or answering emails, you know, there's no reason why, and we talked about this during COVID. Have the phones in this office sent to one of our houses, a shared or whatever. Take those phone calls on our cell phone or at home.
Yeah.
I mean, just because the office is closed doesn't mean that we can't provide services to the people in the community.
Especially for this office.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little harder to write
Yeah, I
checks
think-
or whatever, but.
More discretion to have, but.
I think, you know, policies are what make the world go round. We're going back.
Yes.
So, yeah, I've got a list of stuff that I'll go over just from the commissioners and the offices that we control.
Yeah.
We don't control his or, you know, downstairs or any of that, but we can serve it as a model. And maybe sing harmony off that sheet of music instead of telling other people what to do. So getting involved in the conversation of what we do in these kind of scenarios, I think makes good
Have
sense.
some kind of call chain too, so that if they are closing their offices, we know about it. You know, so that we can figure the same thing, same way with the courts. You know, I thought when Nudie said the courts were closed, that was all 3 of them over there. Apparently that wasn't the case, but I had never heard from Benson, and the only time I don't know if you guys talked with Ader either time.
I talked
I
to
just saw on
George.
Facebook where they said he and Schmidt had talked and they were closing it. Right.
Because I know, when I talked to George about it, George said that he'd already talked to Ager and talked to Smith. I said, well, this is me calling them guys, George already talked to them and said they were gonna claim.
Yeah, I made the assumption that they had a group of juvenile
Yeah.
court too.
That's, the only thing I know is in the last, when he said he was gonna continue to the level 3 until in the morning, yesterday morning. He
And
said-
even, just an email would be great to say, hey, we're staying open or we're closing. Especially during a level 3. Great policy, like you said, give good policy, pass that around, let everybody look at it.
So,
We got something to work with. And
You know, Charles,
okay. Charlie?
All right, I've got the 3 or 4 documents here. I got the contract for Charleston Pike. It requires all of our signatures. Yeah, it requires mine and 3 commissioners. And so this is the contract. I've read it, but I can go ahead and sign my name, and if you guys want to read it throughout the day, then we don't have to turn them in until next Monday. So I'll go ahead and sign my signature on the contract, and that lets you read it. Then I got the final resolution. You know, I've read it, I'm fine with it, and it just requires my signature and Kathy's. And then the rest of it is Jeff's and Jerry's to go through. It's the fiscal officer certification of funds, the invoice for local share, the bank's information, the escrow, and I do have to sign it, and so does the, so do the commissioners. So I'll sign my three, and if you guys want to take the time to look at them or to sign them, that's fine with me. And then I'll sign these real quick, give them to you, then you guys can talk to these guys about how you want to handle the money. Did you guys bring a copy of that invoice and that escrow agreement?
I have it, we were just talking about that, I have it right here.
Okay.
We when you and I talked, was that over the weekend or was that Monday?
Oh, I'm gonna start that.
So did I. It was all the weekend, I guess. If the check is not issued today, the next opportunity to issue it would be Monday, 13th. And you mentioned the possibility of driving it up there. Do you want to do that, or would you rather have a check issued today?
Well, I just have to have it to the district by Monday.
Oh, you're in town?
Yeah.
I thought you meant Columbus.
No, it has to be in Columbus on the 20th, and we just have to have a check to the district office on the 13th.
But if that's the case, there's no harm in waiting until the 13th. Okay.
That's up to you guys.
Yeah. So for today, I guess it's just a matter of getting everything signed.
Yeah, and then the next motion to do it and all that.
That, we already did that, didn't we, Kelly?
I don't think
We
you made a
just,
motion, did you?
No, well, we just moved the money into the general fund.
Okay.
The resolution to move the money.
Okay.
into the general
I thought we did too, actually.
2 million and some change,
2.1 million coming
2
in.
point something, and some change.
Yes, okay. So as far as issuing the payment, that'll take place Monday. Okay.
And I can, for that matter, I can pick these up. You know, you have to do a resolution to accept the final resolution, do a resolution to accept the, enter into the contract. So I don't know if we want to do this today or Monday morning, whenever you want, if you want to take the time to read them or whatever you want to do. It's pretty much cookie cutter.
We still going down on foot today or?
Cole, let's wait till later.
I did,
I'm asking a question.
I did meet a contractor out there Sunday, and we kind of got our minds wrapped around what we need to do to get it open and get it open as quickly as possible. So if it's nice next week, we can run out there after the meeting and take a look at it or whatever we want to do.
I'd like to do it sooner than later. I mean, it doesn't have to be today, it is.
You know what's being like?
Oh, no, we don't want to wait.
I've been hearing from folks who are worried and nervous about it.
Oh, yeah.
But I haven't seen it yet, but the way you've described it, it looks bad.
Steve, Steele.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's what, 300 some people that live?
Probably so. Yeah, but, I mean, there were several people who stopped and talked to us while we were out there, and they understand it's gonna take a little time, but, right now we're getting prices on some filing, getting some prices on using their excavator with their driver, and trying to put the pieces together, and,
How long ago was that paid? Couple of time did
How long ago was it,
Was
Bob?
it paved right up there on top of the hill?
It's been a while on top of the hill. It's kind of laid back before you get to Vandermark, the last paving project, but, I mean, you can see where they patched, I mean, the asphalt has been sinking for, you got lucky where you were there.
I was a side township trustee at one point,
Yeah,
and I had the roads, so.
yeah, I mean, there's that much asphalt in there.
Brad, was there a picture of you in the Gazette the other day?
Uh,
2005 flooding.
When?
Were you a trustee when there was flooding in 2005?
Probably.
There was, there was a thing in the Gazette, and it talked about like a flashback, and I saw it on Facebook. It was like
Is that right?
It said a flashback to 2005 flooding, and it had a picture of a guy standing there looking at a field of water.
Yeah, that's
I
bad.
get tracked.
And I looked at it, I'm like, that's Brad.
Could have been me.
And I thought it was him.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, you're in the movie.
thanks.
Yeah.
On my backside, probably.
Well, it was like you're standing to the side, if it was you, and it's this
Was it
guy
out on
looking at
Allen
a field of water. It didn't say, because I don't have a subscription, so I just saw the picture, I looked at it, I'm like, I think that's Brad.
Could have been.
Yeah.
That place out that Charlie's dealing with now, you know, that's been an issue forever. He's talked about the bridge out there on the other end of Pope Hollow Road, where the Summerhill folks live, you know, that's flooded in there every February for years, and you got doctors and people living up there, and, you know, they always said, how are we supposed to get out? So that's when Charlie started talking about buying a county helicopter, he's gonna fly it, no, just kidding.
I'll give him a run. No, it really could be a service situation, but, we've been keeping that bridge cleaned out best we can. And, now when we do the floor system on the truss there at Wiley's, we'll have to do some creative language in the contract to, not let them start unless we have a good 30-day forecast, and we're certainly not gonna do it like Brad said. In fact, it seems like February is a big, heavy
Does,
flood
yeah.
month. So we'll have to do some creative language in that contract. They'll have to have special times when they can start and stop.
I think that's good information to know for those folks who are wondering about it and want it to be done quickly. You know, it's not gonna be something that's done overnight, because it doesn't make sense to do it, like you pointed out, when you've got bad weather that's gonna keep you progress with moving backward and stuff, right? So when would that start?
Well, we were talking about two different things. I jumped to the bridge.
Okay,
But
sorry.
this, you can try piling year round. I mean, we can try piling.
But the quick fix is what they found, you know,
Yeah.
them dumping asphalt in that hole forever,
Ever,
they're
ever.
trying to hold it up, and now it's gone.
But see, when you see it, there's a hill almost 1/2 to 1, right, toeing right down into it. So there's limited room. You can't really bring a crane in there. So we're going to go with a track excavator with a driver on it to get, in order to keep the traffic open. And we're not going to drive to do drill shafts. We have to have a company come out and do some core samples. And by the time you did that and took it to bid, you're talking several months. So what we want to do is a maintenance fix in the short term by driving piling, and we'll put used guardrail panels over it, and we'll do a tie back. We'll dig a trench on the hillside. I don't really want to drive piling over there because it's going to death out of it. I mean, on the uphill side, I don't want to wake anything up. So we'll probably dig a trench and lay an H-pile down and tie back into it, fill it full of concrete. These aren't engineered design fixes. This is just something to get it open in case we get one heck of a rain in April and more of it decides to go. I'd like, even February, I'd like to get started on it by first part of February. So it's just a bad deal. I mean, there's no way for them to get out.
I said, everybody, there's a couple of them says, just have the county engineer to come in and take that hill out and put the dirt from the hill. And
Well, I'd love to take that out. You have to do with that dirt, you have to haul
They said you just put the dirt where Pay Creek is washing everything else out.
Well, then your floodplain administrator would be on my butt. So you can't put fill on the floodplain, so that would have to be trucked out of there.
Yeah.
And, it's just a tough place. I mean, really, Cook's Hill was way in and out, but there's no way in and out of that place. I mean, it's, I think you said on that, I wouldn't be surprised if there weren't 300 people back there.
Yeah, there probably is.
Yeah.
200 anyway, for sure.
I think we just gotta help the township out and get it done.
So can we kind of recap where we are on this?
Have Kathy make copies. Copies of course, Kathy. That's great.
Before you leave.
What has taken place today is an appropriation from the general fund to cover the cost of this escrow, the 2.1 million. The escrow transfer has actually not taken place yet. So that'll take place next week. And if you remember that last meeting before Christmas, what we talked about was that remaining 3.6 million in escrow from the jail settlement, moving all of that into the general fund.
We did that.
Well, you appropriated from existing general fund money. You haven't moved the escrow yet. We're gonna do that next week. But I bring this up because what that's gonna leave is the 580,000 for the jail steel walls project that Brad, you brought up before Christmas.
580 is for the design work for the courthouse.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
I had a note that said jail project.
No,
We don't have any existing.
the jail project is 1.6 million, but that's grant funded. But it's, it's reimbursable, so we're gonna have to pay those invoices as they come in and then submit those invoices to the Bureau of Adult Detention, and they'll reimburse our funds.
Okay.
So we'll have to have money in there to pay those bills as they come in. I think we can submit them, I think he said we could submit reimbursement every quarter, so every 3 months we can submit something in there. Unless they get so big that we really wanna do something, send them more often. I don't think they can tell us we can't send them in. I just don't know how fast they'll, I've never had a grant through the Bureau of Adult Detention, so I don't know what those are gonna be like, but how fast they'll process them.
Okay.
So that'll be $1.6 million that we have to set aside to cover that
I
grant.
don't know if I'd set that much aside, I'd set some aside as the work gets done so we can pay the bills.
The note I had was 580,000.
That's that's the design work.
Okay.
And I have that contract if you want. I thought I gave it to you, Jerry.
Might have. We've already advanced last year. We advanced 159,000, I think it was. So that was kind of the seed money to kind of get that started. But we can advance it more if we need to. But again, just talking about just getting this escrow money out of our escrow fund, moving over the cash over to the general fund, then it can be appropriated.
Right.
We've
So
got
that's
enough
not a
money
problem
there
for the
now to
jail fund.
appropriate what we did today.
For the jail project, then I would put that money over there. Might as well do the 1.6. I can show you the contract. The contract's for 1.4. The grant was for 1.6. I have a contract from Sutherland for that, and I'm pretty sure I gave you that too.
So that appropriation's been made today. You took the general fund balance down 2.1 million. That payment will be issued Monday. The other thing we're gonna do Monday is move all of that remaining escrow money into the general fund, and that's gonna deplete the escrow.
Is that $3.6 million?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's gone. And after making that payment, the net effect will be to increase the general fund by, what's that, 1.5 million, just for whatever purposes you guys decide. But the key is that after Monday, jail settlement money is all spoken for. Okay? I just wanna make sure everybody has a good understanding of where we are.
So the $3.6 million in the jail fund, we had an escrow.
That's where it is now. It's all coming into the general fund next week to cover this 2.1 million. it's gonna leave one.
For Charlie.
For the,
That's right, for Charlie.
for the Charleston pipe.
For Charleston Pike.
That's right. And you still have 1.5 million left for whatever you
Okay.
decide. But that's gonna be the end of the jail settlement.
Okay.
Now, will you have an arrangement made with whichever bank you're putting this escrow check into and deposit it that day then?
Well, according to this, don't we issue a check to the Department of Transportation or the state treasurer?
No, not, there's some instructions in there for an escrow fund that it should be in your packet.
I thought, yeah, that's what I thought. It's not, we're moving it out of the jail escrow
You're keeping the money.
into an
You're all
escrow.
in.
We're not paying the 2.1, we're moving it into separate.
So you're not physically needing to take a check with you. You want,
Well, those instructions are in there someplace.
That statement says to make a check payable to the treasurer of state.
See, that's what I thought.
If we want to do that, but you can also do it by an escrow account.
Okay.
So,
I'd rather hold on to our money in that escrow account than hand it over to the state.
and you can get it back faster if the thing comes in under estimate. You can get your money back.
yeah, we can work with Dave Jeffers on that. He's got to set up the account itself.
So,
when they wire the money.
aren't those instructions in that packet? I thought I printed them all.
Is that this escrow agreement?
Yeah. Yeah, see, you'll have to get your financial institution, and I think, and here's the directions, how to go about it.
So when you said take it over to the Department of Transportation, I thought you meant you were taking an actual check.
No,
You're
well,
taking the
yeah, I'm taking the agreement, the contract, final resolution.
Okay.
And your certification, and so you'll have to sign.
Yeah.
They gave you a little sample back here of some little village somewhere,
I have it right here.
yeah.
So that money really won't go anywhere, it'll just move from one place to an escrow account.
Right. And the idea behind that is they'll probably keep it for 1.5 years till the job's done. But if you just gave them a check, they probably wouldn't give you that money back for 5 years. We get checks back 4 or 5 years later because they don't find another job, even a simple guardrail job. It takes them 4 or 5 years to find out if they owe us any money back. So I think this is the way to go. Matter of fact, the district even recommended this.
We should do a lot of things like this.
Money in the escrow account.
Yeah.
So, that's why we have the capital fund account.
Yeah.
So do we need- what do we need to do?
Nothing till next week.
Yeah, signatures today, actual movements next week.
We already did the signatures and stuff like that, moved it from.
Yeah, we did that.
Pick a bank. Who do we bank with anyway?
Huntington, yeah. Again, Dave Jeffers will handle that end of it, what we get with him.
Resolution to proceed by force account. You guys can consider that.
We said no to that.
Said no to it.
Yeah,
When
we
you go
did.
home now.
Yeah, we did it.
Charlie's not forcing anything.
Yeah.
We told Mr. Coleman from the.
We told Mr. Coleman that you're forcing everybody in the county to do something.
Kicking in doors.
I appreciate it. It makes things run pretty smooth. I've been doing it I haven't been here for 40 years, but it's been done for 40 some years, so. All right, well, I appreciate it. Is there anything else you need from me?
So we'll go out next week to Olive.
Yeah, it's just, nothing like taking a field trip to see a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
But when you drive back there, you will feel the gravity of the situation that, I'd be nervous too if I lived back there. But,
I got a whole new appreciation for Cooks Hill when we went out there.
yeah,
It's kind of different.
yeah, this isn't nearly the size of Cooks Hill.
Yeah.
But it's interesting that there's, Arcelis landscaping companies back there, and they bring some pretty big trucks. They stockpile landscaping materials back there. And, makes me a little bit nervous, but, what I actually thought about doing, we've got it in stock condition right now, where people coming from both directions have to stop, then yield to somebody coming through because it's one lane. And, once we get into this, I get a feel for the integrity of what we do. I may just keep the stop condition there and keep people over into the lane that wasn't affected for a while to see how this all reacts.
Are there weight restrictions on roads like that?
You can put 50% weight restrictions due to freezing and thawing. At this time, it's this time of year, isn't it?
It's from November to March 15th, I believe.
We're gonna have freezing and thawing, and I'm not saying to do that, I just think.
Yeah, that's really, the townships are the ones that have the authority to do that if they want to do it. So, it's tough little situation, man. Somebody wanted to pour a patio or, bring a concrete truck through there.
Concrete truck may be in the creek.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, I'm serious. I mean, it could be in the creek.
Well, that's why I made it, just keep everybody in that one lane and keep the stop condition up there, because the one lane appears not to have any damage. So it's just one of those things that popped up. You go down through there the whole way, even on flyways coming out of town. I mean, they cut the road into the hillside, and the road's like this. Wasn't an engineered road, it's just, something just,
A cattle trail.
yeah, that's about it. Bring them in and out of town. Path to bring the trees into town and anything else. Tough place to build a road. Yeah. Everybody have a good year. Joe Bob.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, Trent, if you wanna come down, I'll stand.
Yeah.
See you guys, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, paper there.
Hey, how are you?
Just there in a few minutes.
Yeah, I'll be down.
Okay.
Did you get her note?
We have any?
Hey, how you doing?
Hello, good, how are you?
That's usually my job, but I got a different job today.
Did you get any bids?
Just one.
You got one in.
Got 2 minutes.
Gotta wait for Kevin to get back in here.
Want that back. I want that.
I got a quick question. I have the contract for the, I'm pretty sure you guys know I've been doing this, been working on this grant for the paints and put their turf on the field. Well, I finally got the contract from this Todd Rush, who's with AstroTurf. Do you want me to have our attorneys review this contract, or you want to sign it?
Let's have Jeff to review it, or have John Jeff gets to it. Baseball season be done there.
Well,
Have them take a look
I'm
at
meeting
it.
with Ben today about all our other stuff,
Have them take a look
but I
at it.
didn't know if you wanted me to do that or just have you sign it.
Just have them take a look at it. We'll sign it next week.
Yeah.
Because he wants to get a thing done there.
Yeah, I know he does. I mean, I don't,
But can he put it in good? Because
it's an AIA contract and they've crossed out a bunch of stuff on it. And that's typical depending on what kind of work you're doing. But I'd like him just to look it over, and if it's fine, no changes, I just don't want us to get hung out to dry.
Especially when we're handing out money or.
Because it has, because he wants to get that thing, can they put it down in this weather?
I guess they can. He wants it down by March or something. Is
He has a tournament going on in February.
that when it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs it before March.
Oh,
I thought it was March.
he needs one, yeah.
You know, maybe March, I'll go down today.
Get pushed back.
We have opening a bid opening for WPCLF batch number 4. We have one. from JB's Construction,
Okay.
JBS.
JBS Construction.
That's a large one. That was a local share.
416 Main Street, Main Bridge,
Yeah, it's a replacement.
total price $5,000. 13 North Mountain Street, Main Bridge, $2,650. 308 East Main Street, Main Bridge, $3,000, total $10,650.
Sounds good.
Got everything in here.
Stick it in your box.
Okay, thank you.
Take a few of those with you.
That'll make a good lunch.
Take a few.
Thank you, you guys have a good day.
Thank you.
You too.
Thanks.
Still have that 1 o'clock, ACGP meeting.
I believe it was on the calendar, yes. Right before I came.
I'll be over there.
Okay, I'll tell them.
You take it down to the shelter. You guys want them, or you want me to take them?
I don't want any.
What, the apples?
Yeah.
Take it. They can take there for a while.
Nobody eats healthy stuff around.
Big apple.
Yeah, wait till the flowers start coming.
Yeah, that's why.
Does that wait till the next?
When Frank Hirsch was a commissioner, we used to give him every Monday, man.
Really?
Couldn't eat enough apples around here.
Where's my mints?
What's that?
Are my mints in there? In the bowl?
No, that's the.
Can't be done for recorder minutes.
There's recorder mints.
Oh, yeah, they're getting old. Like, just throw them away.
We don't run copy these street guys.
Yeah, we're copies of that.
Okay, they contacted me, OBRDC has contacted me, to schedule the first round Ross County caucus meeting. Considering Monday, February 3rd at 9:30 a.m.
That's already on the calendar.
That's already on the calendar?
That was her, yes.
Okay. What day is that? That's our Monday meeting, February 3rd at 9:30. You'll be here anyway.
Yeah, you'll be here in it.
That's actually one day, remember I sent those emails. Of the two meetings.
Every other week you won't be here?
Yeah, those are the only two that I've got planned.
All right, well, who do you know?
Yeah, I'd say so. I have confidence.
George's word about his budget.
Did he call you or did he?
He came over. I'm not talking to him on the phone. He was, well, how come you guys, I got, my medical is, my salary is $50,000 shorter than what it was last year.
It's because you carried over, you had, how much you have left at the end of the
He
year?
only had $1.2 million. He said here's about 3.
I just wonder how much he had left over in salaries this year.
According to him, what he appropriated and what he spent is, what, 50,000 more?
More than what he originally appropriated.
Yeah.
So he came back and asked for 50 more?
I think he just moved it from one place to another.
Oh, he just moved it.
Yeah, just moved it around, which he does all the time.
Right.
And I told him not to worry about it. When's the last time we told him no?
He said, well, I just don't wanna come over here and have to ask that you guys for money.
People think I can do my
I'd rather
budget,
you did that than carry $3 million over.
which he does all the time.
I told him, I said, you get better at budgeting that way.
Telling him.
So we got any other business?
No, thank you. Yes. We have to do the president thing now.
President.
Is that this week or next week? I thought it was today, but
No, that's next week.
I thought it was today too, but,
I thought it was today too.
but I was on a 4, I don't know.
I thought it was the day at the end of the meeting.
I think it's what they call the reorganizational meeting, and I think it's next week.
Next
It is, it's second.
Captain told me.
It is second. In my mind.
You do all the other garbage that you did today about picking up checks and that stuff, and then reorganization meetings.
And we did boards and all that
I
stuff.
make a motion to approve last meeting's minutes.
Oh, I'll let you do it.
I'll second it. All in favor? Aye. Kathy? You get that? The minutes of the last meeting, Jack, and I second. Okay.
We're gonna have to think about some artwork or something in here.
That's what I said, the ball's gonna come,
They're
baby.
looking a little bare now.
A little bear.
It'd be cool if we could, like Kevin said, if there's some things from the historic society that they could display here. I mean, we don't have to call it ours.
And I have the original.
You got the original.
Yes.
Have you got a vendor for the janitorial services at the Historic Center?
I have two that are interested. One is K&K, who does their carpet cleaning already. And then the other one I have on my desk, I think it was Spencer. Is that the one you wrote down, remember, on that orange paper?
Yeah.
It's been a week or two ago, but I have two, so put that, K&K does a good job with the carpet cleaning. And apparently they do some other buildings. He's a preacher. And he uses his church folks
Yeah, you
to
mentioned
do the cleaning, yeah. That's how he keeps them, I guess, you know. I had to send Jim Lambert an email last week about, they weren't doing anything out there.
And they're not doing, like I said, they're not doing it.
Yeah, it's bad, it's really bad, that's why I wanna get it done. I mean, their contracts, he said they'd work through their contract, which is March 31st. But if I can get them out of there sooner, I'd like to get them out of there sooner, just because they're not doing anything.
I just joined that board anyway, First Capital.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, so probably kind of a conflict anyway. And the only reason I accepted that was because we were gonna make a change mutually.
Well, the only reason we used them all the years that we have is because at one point there was a state law that
Yeah,
said
they
you had a
mandated
shelter
it.
workshop in your community.
And we had to use it.
You had to use them. And that's
Well, I
what,
agree with the concept. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. It just, they moved away from all that. You know, they're not doing that. I think the only other place they clean is like ODOT's got an office and they clean it, and it must be a lot easier cleaning than what we have here. I mean, that's a big building. If you've ever walked all the way through that building, you know how big it is.
It's like a labyrinth.
It is,
There's
man.
rooms in there.
You get lost in a minute.
Built in the 40s, that's a World War II building.
I just, last Junk Family Services meeting we was at, we couldn't get out through the door that we usually come in and out.
Couldn't get out?
Couldn't get out because
People in the offices, they're.
Veterans.
Internal, yeah.
they shut that door, so
We had to put that door in there because they were fighting amongst themselves so bad. It got to the point where it was just freaking ridiculous, to be honest.
Who was?
Between the veterans organization and Job and Family Service people and some others, they just couldn't get along. They were just, I mean, it was a damn war out there. So we finally said, I met with Jody Walker, and he said, Brad, why don't we just put a door here? And that way they don't have to worry about people coming into their area. So, well, if that's what you want, that's what we'll do. And we checked with David, the building inspector, to make sure we could do it. And they said, yeah, that's fine. We had to move some signage and stuff around.
that was the first time that door has been locked. All the time, the whole year that I was.
It's, you know, you put that many people in one building. I mean, so here's another. We had one lady out there that when we would clean the carpet, she would say, don't clean my office anymore. I'm allergic to the carpet cleaning. Well, the last 2 times that he did it before, she complained once. And I said, well, the next time you do it, just use hot water. So he just used hot water. Then she really complained, said, oh, I'm really allergic to whatever you used this time. It was really bad. And then 2 days later, the lady in the office next to her, she had the same problem.
Yeah.
So now there's 2 offices that we don't clean.
No meeting today, you have one Friday online, you have one next Monday
Okay,
in Devin's office.
thanks, Jerry.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's crazy out there. It is.
Yeah.
And then, you know, of course, you got two keys for the boards of election. You can't go in there unless you got a Democrat and a Republican in there, so gotta have two in there all the time, can't go in there. There's just so many different rules, and then, you got the state on the one end. They've got a ton of different rules. I don't know if Ron's gonna stay, he said he wasn't gonna apply for that
If not,
again.
Jordan Wheeler's gonna take it over to clerk court's office.
That'd be the title office.
He's taking up everything.
Is he gonna apply for that work?
I think he's already done it.
Is that right?
Cause it's gonna be,
There's like,
Storage.
I'm not familiar with it very much, but there's like an alternative way the state allows you to run
Is that right?
title agency.
see, that's like in.
Well, that's title, but I'm talking about where Ron is, that's different, that's a license bureau.
Fayette County's ran by the clerk court's office.
Is it really?
Yeah. The title department and also the license.
There's a number of counties that do
So you can go
it.
through the Department of Public Safety and get that contract. Well, good. That'd be a whole lot, that'd be better than dealing with one more individual. Because Ron made it very difficult to clean that place. He wouldn't come in the mornings, he wouldn't let him in there in the afternoon, and just, it was miserable.
Well, yeah. I think it was, that was part of it, not the cleaning aspect, but just the fact that it's one more office, one more thing, one more person.
That's good
In
news.
charge of
I'm glad to hear that. Now, they won't be taking the driver's exam station.
No.
That'll stay with the state.
That's state.
Well, so is Ron's.
Yeah, but it's a bid job. It's a
bid job.
Yeah, it's
It is a
job
bid.
for the state.
Yeah, the other one isn't a bid, right?
That was run by the state control.
Right.
Who's in with water and soil? Some federal.
Well, you got the Farm Service Agency that's in with them, which is really a part of USDA, which is in the offices right next to them. That's why they have a special sign. Have you ever noticed that sign that's underneath the service center sign?
Yeah.
That's part of the, exactly. That's part of their lease. We have to keep that sign there.
Because I guess if they're looking to go somebody's looking to go someplace else for more room.
Well, that's what Winstrom's was considering for a while too.
But then they were, because when I talked to Bryce Acton, I talked to him, he said, because they said, well, can you guys lease us some land by the fairgrounds and put a building out there?
I think that's an individual thing that he wants.
And I said, well, I don't know about leasing your land so you can build something. I said,
He wanted to be on the fairgrounds at one point.
he said, that'd be an ideal spot for it out there at the fairground. I said, okay. Well, then at the end of Western Avenue, the southern end of, something like that.
I'll tell you what you're gonna end up needing there is a maintenance shop. Cause we're gonna get kicked out of that building over here. You sell 15 North Payne, like was the plan. All the maintenance people are in the back of that building. And then you've got the rental where we keep all the trucks that belongs to Dryden. Familiar with those areas?
Yeah, where's the rental?
So if you go across the alley, past the pawn shop lady there, you're going down that alley. That little parking lot on the back there by O'Malley's Alley, that's where our maintenance shop is.
Oh, okay.
So that's where they actually work. They've got all their tools, they've got table saws, all that equipment's in there. And then down the alley a little bit further behind the church, before you get to the Chamber of Commerce, on the left-hand side, there's a big old garage there. And that's where we park all of our trucks during the day and evening. So all the guys that work in that shop park their work trucks in there. Now, we still park one out we have one out at the airport. We have one that we park in the garage at Camp Sherman Park there on 104. We keep the truck in there. But we got stuff spread out. And I just know that at some point, if you sell 15 North Main, those guys are gonna have to come out, and there's nowhere to put them. And we had talked about making a road up out of that parking lot up, because I don't know if you'd ever be able to get a curb cut on a Western Avenue there. You know, ODOT's pretty stingy about those. But if you had a way to get up there, you could build like an L-shaped building. You could have their office on one side and build enough garages to put the trucks in and have a little parking lot up there too.
Where do they do the bulk of their work?
Well,
Courthouse here?
most of the work's done in the jail. But every day, when I first came here, we had a work order system that you wrote out. People would deliver them here and they get thrown in that basket in there and then Dan would take them and I'd never get to see them. So we gotta do something else. So when we did the renovation for all the HVAC units and all the electrical, all the lighting, changed all that out to get it modernized. The company that was here doing that had a worker that worked for them who started a company called, we call it FMX. It's Facilities Management Express. It's kind of like Facility Dude. It's one of those big management deals. So that's part of why we use Verigy. Verigy uses that same system. So when a work order gets put in anywhere in the county, any building, if you guys put it in, so it runs our schedules. So when you need to reserve a room, whether it's this room or at the service center or anywhere, it gets put into FMX on a schedule. That schedule also shows all the maintenance work that has to be done. So once a maintenance request is put in there, they have 5 days to
I was
do it.
thinking 3.
5 days to get it done. Then it pops up red and it shows that they haven't done it. And then we got a huge report that shows, you know, where most of the work is done, where all the work is done, which buildings. And in the jail, we started attaching time and money to those because we were spending a lot of money. We're still spending a lot of money over there, but at one point the commissioners want to see that. But that system is great, and you can have access to it. I mean, you're welcome to it. I can show you how to put it on your computer. It's really simple. And you know, as an administrator, I see every one of them, so I can keep track of. You know, if I see something come in right away that needs attention and they're out working, it'll show up on their phones too. I mean, a lot of them have them downloaded on their phone. So if they're in the service center and something's going wrong and it pops up, instead of them having to come all the way back to look at their computer, it pops up on their phone, they can take care of it while they're there. So it's been a really great system for us. I mean, and then Verigy watches it too. So if there's an HVAC issue that comes up, usually our guys will try to take care of it. But if it sounds like a rooftop unit went out or there's a connection problem between the controls and the rooftop unit, they'll try to administer it from Columbus. And then if they can't, then they contact us and we send a maintenance company to go out and take a look at it. So it's a good system. At one time, CCAO was given a discount for. They had done one of these things like they just did with Amazon, where, you know, they were trying to get all the counties to use one particular company. We had been using this FMX system for years, and then all of a sudden, probably 5, 6, 7 years into us using it, they came and said, well, if you use Facility Dude, you get a discount or something, you know. So we looked at it, but it wasn't anything compared to what we have, and it didn't tie in with all the stuff we already had. So we stayed with them, but they ended up, we said, hey, look at this and see, why aren't you using these guys? These guys are local. Why are you using somebody out of South Carolina? They said, well, you know, they got some deal, I'm sure, but they get it's the same credit for using the same. I mean, it's a great system. It really does work really, really well. Sure does beat the paper work orders.
Well, I think with all of that, with logistics of assets and work locations and everything, we gotta think 5, 10 years down the road.
Yeah.
And, you know, if we sold 15 North Main Street, what would go in there? Office. That's not all that could go in there, not the back for
Right.
maintenance.
Yeah.
But, you know, building out this LCNB building, what's that gonna look like? Who's gonna be there? We're gonna put the jail out at the fairgrounds and put a parking lot next door here. What's gonna happen? What could happen?
Those are huge plans that you're right. It takes some time to sit down and really plan them out, because it's kind of how it's always been. You know, that building over there became available, and the commissioners that were on the board at the time said, you know, that's too close to our campus to let somebody else get it and do something else with it. It was too good a deal not to take it because, you know, they paid what they paid rent on it for almost 5 years, I think.
Paid the thing off.
Paid for what the commissioners paid for the building. It paid it off, I think, twice. But now you got this big building, you got the prosecutor in there after the remodel we did in there. But there's a lot of unused space in there that you're probably heating now and not being used. What do you do with that building? I mean,
And then you mentioned the jail. That's one that's gonna have to, that discussion's gonna have to happen sometime. And again, the sooner we start talking about it and making a plan, the closer we'll be to implementing it. But then, what I wanna do is look at all of these things at one time together and how the puzzle pieces fit together. It's hard for us to do that, like the three of us, but, at least starting with, because the other thing is, I hear what you're saying on the bank building, but then if we move to the jail, we've got, that's a very nice building we've spent a lot of money on over the years. Maybe that can accomplish what we want to accomplish with the bank building. Maybe we're better off to, drop the bank. There's just, I don't know any of these.
well, here's a scenario for you that we looked at years ago is, in Miami County, they had a building jail very similar to this downtown, just like ours is. And they ended up building a new facility that was the kind of housing the dormitory style housing that you probably want. And what they did with it was they had like 4 different quadrants, and one guard stood at a podium in the middle of each one of those quadrants. That's all it took. And when you walked in the door, you had restrooms, showers on one side.
This is the jail building.
This was the new building that they had. Across the back was big, tall windows. So each one of those pods was like a gymnasium style.
Yeah.
Big windows up high. They had all the bunks along the back, and then around this side they had workout equipment. And then in the front it was just places with desks where they could sit down or write and do whatever. But that dormitory style living is so much different than this. You're not in a pod. You're not in a cell at night. You're just in a room with a whole bunch of guys. And as long as your behavior was good, you stayed there. If not, you got your butt back down here and they locked you up in the jail. And that's what they used it for. And the jail that they had like ours still had a kitchen. So they still provided all the meals out of that kitchen and just trucked the meals out to the dormitory. Didn't make any sense to build another kitchen. And, you got 2 kitchen staffs, so something to look at. I mean, other communities have done that, something to look at, because you can't put murderers, you can't put rapists, you can't put those kind of people in the dormitory. So
And that's what George was saying. He would like to have a dormitory style out to the fairgrounds.
Yep.
But he still would have to operate this thing. But the problem with it is, yeah, we can build that dormitory, but then it's gonna cost us outrageous
Yeah,
to run the thing.
I hate to have to maintain 2 jails. But to me, the idea behind building a new jail would be to make a new jail that's more modern, that's not right downtown, because one of the issues with the jail is the fact that it's right here.
Yeah.
And
Got people shopping and,
You don't want to have a jail where you're trying to attract this.
but
No, but and to Ed Kunzelman's point the other night, but the reason it's built here is because if you put it out there, you got more personnel and more vehicles because you're trucking those people in here every day to court. Right now, they walk them out of that jail right down the alley and right into the jail. And that's why the jail was built downtown, was because the prisoners can go right to the courts that they need to go to. All of a sudden, you're putting them 2.5 miles out of town. If you think about the old jail that's back here, that old walkway going there, that's what that was for, was to walk them out of that jail right into the courtroom.
And they were supposed to do a walkway from New York to here.
Columbus has one, they built their jail downtown right next to the court systems. They all go underground.
Yeah.
Did you know that? They got, yeah, they got.
They don't go outside, they're all.
Yeah, they walk right underground, right into the court.
Hey, we got that basement up there, we looking to relocate the law library.
Well, that's, to me, that's,
Yeah,
that's
we need to
a
do-
unused space, you know, that space could be.
Make that an area where you wait for arraignment or court or whatever. I just think, I mean, we've got a lot of cool things that we could do, we just need to think about them.
Yep.
All in concert with one another and how, because even the service center, I mean, eventually we're gonna have to do something with that place to
See, that's like,
modernize it, clean it up.
somebody asked me if the county was gonna buy the old Big Bear building. I said, well, you already own the service center.
Well, the service center, if you look at the offices, in the back, they were modernized 2 years ago. I mean, all new floors, all new painting, all new ceilings, that's all been done. You know, when you walk into the place, it looks terrible. You know, trying to have a food service out of there, you know, when they were bringing in, what they call that? It wasn't just the whole clinic, but it was the feeding.
Yeah.
Oh, I've done the farmer's breakfast there.
Well, no, this is giving away fresh fruits and vegetables. So that food truck would come down, that produce truck, and they would unload skids off of that thing and drive them in there, and the walls were all beat up, and if you look at the floors, they got all those marks in them.
Yeah.
Well, that's from those fork trucks spinning their wheels on there and causing all that to happen. They ruined the thresholds on the doors, smashed them down because they were heavy. That was something one of the commissioners thought was a good thing, and it was, but that wasn't the place for it.
Yeah.
So,
I think-
and then you've got the conference rooms.
Those are
We were
useful.
setting up for you for that one meeting that you had. I walked in there, I was like, there's a stain on the floor this big. We went and
Yeah, it looks like-
got a rug and put it over top of it because it was embarrassing to look at it.
Yeah.
Now, all that's being designed right now too. All those changes are being done.
I got part of that in our capital plan.
I think more, you know, I said updates, but government and the needs of what we have out there change, making sure that the configurations and setups are conducive to what we actually want to do. It feels like about everybody is out of room over there, except for the ones who might be moving out, the board of elections, for example, and that's the one office that I have worked in and been around it. It works, but it's not really, you don't walk in there and go, wow, this is a county government, you know, they're stuck over there.
Yeah.
And it's just not,
And they took over what used to be the veterans office
Yeah.
too.
because they need more room, and
Yeah.
those rules always change around how many voting machines you need and how you have to have them stored, but, my point, larger point is just having that big broad conversation. I don't know if we obviously start doing that, the three of us, but is there, it would be helpful to have like a real, audit wouldn't be the right word, but a big inventory of what we've got and what's the grade, like A, B, C, F of the
The
shape
city
that
just,
they're in
the
and
city just did that. Didn't they just do that with their buildings? Yeah.
That way we've got something to base our plans off of to know what needs to be addressed first and what's gonna cost, you know. What's on the wish list, maybe what needs done today.
So at 15 North Main Street, how many offices we have over there?
I don't know if I can tell you exactly how many there's,
All of the first floor, right?
the whole first floor is adult probation. And then on the second floor, you've got planning department, and you got the building department. And then you go upstairs again, and that's mediation and, parks department, parks.
But litter's over there somewhere.
Excuse me?
Litter control's over there somewhere.
I think I don't know where they are, actually. I think they're on the third floor too.
Part of the
Because
office.
that's it, because if we do away with, if we end up doing away with that, though, we'd have to find them people someplace to go to.
Well, the plan was to put them over there.
Yeah.
You know, everybody but probation would come over here.
Yeah.
And all the county offices would go over there. Because all of those over there, other than the park district, report to the commission.
That would be best case scenario.
That would be the best, having everybody together.
But you're never gonna put all those offices, Jeff's people, David's people,
Quarters people.
recorder's people in that building.
Well, not Jeff, or Jeff Marks.
No, no,
Jeff,
Laner,
No,
get on.
I'm thinking we gotta tear it down, but.
Yeah.
Build it. And build a facade that's period relevant to the.
Right. and I still say you can put a parking garage around it. There's enough space to do that in the parking spaces you have now. Take that same hole that you've got, build it up. Even if you had to go 4 stories with an outlet,
Yeah.
make it look professional, make it look like a real.
Turn radius would have to be calculated in there, but yeah,
What do you think the city's gonna take over that Gazette building?
I think they should.
I agree.
I think they ought to turn the administration building back into a storefront.
Yep.
That produces revenue rather than expense for them. And,
Yes,
but
it will.
it's just gonna be at what price? By
Yeah.
who owns it?
Well, I heard that, what's his name, sold it.
Really?
That, who,
Mark Cincy, I think, has it.
Mark Cincy owns it now.
Yeah, Kevin.
That's why I think that's why Ed was so excited about it.
That's a good
Thought that he
idea
could-
now, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I don't know what Mark had to buy from, what's that guy's name?
Kevin
Yeah.
Yeah,
Ross, yeah.
because I know what he was trying to do to the commissioners when
Oh, yeah.
When he had that, when he bought that building.
Yeah.
that was outrageous. Went from $800 a month to $8,000 a month.
What's the other alternative, which is less sexy than building something nice, but I mean, if there's vacant office space existing downtown entering a long-term lease, a 50-year lease, if there's interest in that type of thing, to move offices there. But, you know, I'm open to anything, and I love the idea. I just, there's nothing that we're gonna do when it comes to building things in the downtown that isn't gonna come with a pretty good sized price tag.
Right, but yeah, there's nothing that's big enough to hold us all.
Yes.
So that we operate as a unit instead of being fractured like we are partially right now.
I like being in one
You know, if
space.
we're gonna bite the bullet, then we
And
we gotta make the decision.
every elected office space is, I mean, it's adequate, but no one has abundance of space. I think of even us here, I mean,
We've made it work.
we made
And
it
all of
work.
us have made
We
it
made it work, but in
Yeah.
an ideal world, if we were making improvements to that, everyone would have more space and they'd be together.
I don't know what they're gonna do at the clerk courts. They got no place to put nothing else.
I know.
Well, I think we gotta look and see what we need to have and what can be digitized.
We got no say so over that.
I know we don't have any say so over it.
That was a done deal. I don't know, were you here
We're
then?
out of room, we're
I
out of
was,
room. It's their problem.
Jack, were you here when that happened?
But
when
So
Charlie was trying to get,
when we moved the prosecutor out, they had an 80-foot long trailer full of files. They got put in a trailer and taken to Chicago and stored at a facility that we pay for every year because they said they couldn't get rid of them. So they're being stored in a fire-protected building up there. And I asked Jeff, you know, how often do you really get one of those files?
never,
Almost never. You know, the stuff that's modern that they need, they keep in the basement of the LCB bank in a storage area that the bank used to keep files in. Those are the most modern ones that we put in there. Everything else went over there. They don't pull that stuff up, you know, you can just do away with it. I mean, we're spending money. We had the same deal worked out for the clerk of courts. And
truck in there, the
we
truck and
had it all
everything.
ready to, the same company was gonna truck it up there and keep it all, because all we kept hearing was, can't get rid of it. You gotta hold on to it forever. You can't get rid of it.
Can't they digitize those records?
They can, but the cost to digitize them is way more expensive than just storing them, because to digitize them all just like those, if we would have digitized all those from the clerk or from the prosecutor's office and they never need them, why would you spend $2 million digitizing them if you're not going to use them? Now, if they need them, they can call up there and within 2 hours, they'll go out in the warehouse and find them and scan them and send them to them. And it's just like having the original document.
Yeah.
But we had the same thing worked out for the clerk of courts. And the judge said, no, those are our records and we're not doing that. And put the kibosh on it.
That's a
Current judge?
The truck and everything was here and they was ready to, they had cardboard boxes.
Already shipped here. I mean, we were ready to load it all up.
Of course, I was gonna be like, let's let them know. No, it's the
Judge Hayden said, the records do not belong to the clerk of courts, they belong to the court.
That's right.
Then the court finds a place for it.
We're still.
I don't-
We're still on there.
We're still good. We just had a little fight with them.
Well, we're not saying that it didn't happen. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, it all happened, so, yeah.
yeah, we had to ship we had tons and tons of storage boxes that the guy shipped here. We had to load them all up, ship them all back.
Need to find another space, another spot for the law library.
That's the next logical spot. We're just kicking it down the road.
What's the next slide?
That,
Where do you want to move to?
well, we don't need all that in there. We can digitize that. We don't have to keep those records forever. We can have internet access, 3 computers, and the high revised code books. And that's about it.
We went over there with Jan Corzine, who's on the law library board, and we measured that out.
Yeah, I got a drawing of that.
Yeah, we could build a wall
There's all
and
kinds of
still
stuff.
allow you to get through the door into the bigger space and then have another door that would let you into the law library and still have the office space there, all the records that they want to handle out, all those computers along the wall, and still have a place for books on the other wall. I mean, it wouldn't cost much to do that there. And then you could take all the rest of that stuff that's in there out of there and divide it up into office space or whatever you want to use it for.
That would be a good another spot for somebody to use as office space.
Does it have to be its own standalone space?
What do you mean?
No,
Because the other thing that, we've got the map room downstairs. Could you put the law library in a place like that?
You could put it, at one point, the commissioners talked about just renting another space over at the vote block
put it in there.
and putting it in there. I mean, basically, like Commissioner Everson said, all you need is a bookcase with the most current books on it,
Yeah.
and the rest of it
Table
is.
to the wall right there.
Yeah, exactly, that's it, and then 4 computers or whatever with LexisNexis and Westlaw on it, that's all you really need.
That's why I thought, I haven't been down there forever, but stick a desk just in a place that's already meant for people to come in and look at things.
Yeah.
That's what the map room is they come in, look at things, and it essentially is a library.
And that's the problem we have with Ms. Carter, that's a secure facility. They don't want people just wandering around in there. So every door has a code or a lock or something on it. And if there's nobody over there, sitting there every day like the other law librarian did, 8 to 5 or whatever she did.
Is there restrictions on how many hours you need to have that?
That I don't know about. I know you have to provide one.
You have to provide one, but
I don't know what it
Well,
says.
that's how we can solve that problem real easy is keep the law library open. This is when it's gonna be open from noon to 4 or whatever, 4 days a
Before
week.
it's the posted hours.
And somebody can sit down there, and if somebody
One
can't
to
sit,
four.
somebody can't sit down there, but they're getting paid to sit down there, bye. We'll find somebody else to sit down there for whatever, 3 days a week. So,
There's only, the posted hours are only 15 hours a week. We get charged 20 hours.
where we get paid, charged 20 hours.
because I guess that's what we've always done.
We're not gonna do it anymore.
The good thing, David, is, you know, if you, when you take over that position, you know, almost all those board members, if not all of them, are attorneys. I'm sure they can show you the Iowa Revised Code, what you have to offer and how often you have to offer.
I don't know how popular it's gonna be, but, I mean, my opinion is we do the minimum requirement that the state has for a law library. I mean, we live in 2020. You can find whatever information
On,
online.
Yeah, there's only one person that uses that library. So I'm sure that he would be all, I don't know, I don't see books on his desk very often at all, like that.
Who's that, Jan? Yeah, Jan uses it.
He uses a computer.
Paige McMahon, I've seen him in there, he uses it some. And then Heidi Carter. I mean, those are the people that use most. There are some others, but nobody regularly.
Nobody regularly
like those guys.
I'm not saying eliminate it, just
Yeah,
No, just the minimum that we need to have.
most law offices, if you work in a law office, they're gonna have Westlaw and they're gonna have LexisNexis on their computers there. They're paying for that, you know, like any other software program like we use.
and
Anything
then
else?
there's a couple of things that I'd like to see happen. You know, I like to see the courthouse get done. 'Cause I'm tired of looking at it. And that's what we're working that way.
You talk about the outside?
Yeah, the outside.
Yeah.
Let's do the, you know, and then once we get the outside done, we have to worry about what we're gonna do on the inside, where we're gonna put everybody. It's, you know, you're talking the prosecutor's office and probation. The clerk of courts will stay here. So that won't be too bad.
So you're gonna move the
Transition.
prosecutor in here?
Prosecutor will move in here.
The transition.
That still would be a lot of space. That'd be a lot of space for this building for having the prosecutor's office here, the clerk of court's office here, and the judges that's already here. Right now, the only thing that we don't have over here now is the prosecutor's office
And
and probation. But then we'll be moving out the recorder's office, the treasurer's office, and the auditor's office,
and the commissioners.
and the commissioner's office. You know, that's gonna be a lot of space over here in this building for just everything court.
Yeah, I think you're there.
Yeah, the what's
They'll use
easy,
it though, I mean.
the what's easy, the how is the difficult. So where do we start? You know, we can't start over here because we have to move out for the work to get done.
And I could say, we had to move out, we'd have to have
We'd have to have.
that
something.
building over there done.
Yeah.
Before we start moving everybody.
And if we start over there, the prosecutor's office has to have some place to go to work
Gotcha.
while that's being done.
I think we're gonna, I'm not saying the time is now, although maybe it is, but we need to get some expertise.
Well, that's why we're having.
That's why we're having that.
Looking at that and.
Well, they're doing the expertise on how to actually.
exterior renovation.
I'm talking about expertise to plan, how do you look at your capital inventory, prioritize it, grade it based upon, you know, the evidence that's there on what the building itself is capable of.
And then Jack talked about the move, you know, the move is kind of.
That's the other thing, how do you
It's like
coordinate
what we did in the jail, you know, I mean, we could at least maybe go to a different office or go somewhere else, you know, rent a space in the meantime, or those jail people, you know, we send a few away, but you have to figure the schedule, you know, a lot of work gets done at night. I know when we redid all the lights and the HVAC stuff in here, almost all the work was done at night. Because we still operated, we never shut down.
all this stuff is a huge problem. I mean, it's gonna be a huge multiple year.
That's a big job.
But I think the first step is really understanding what we've got and what it's gonna, I'm not talking, we need a quote, but I wanna understand, you you know, what's the paths of least resistance? Where are there maybe things that we're not equipped to look for around?
I think any good planner is gonna tell you, the easiest thing to do is, if you're really thinking about building that new building, that's where you start, because then you're only moving the prosecutor. And you've already got space in the basement of the jail and the law library to stick them down there until that building's complete. And by that time, you've planned all the space that you need. And then everybody that's in here starts moving. And they go into new building. And then this place gets renovated while those people are still where they are. This place gets renovated, then you move them in here.
I've done a number of these, and inventory assessment is the first step.
Absolutely.
What we have right now that we can use, what kind of shape is each individual place in? And then you can pick a priority of what can't have a serviceable life anymore versus one that has a long-term serviceable life. So, you know, we gotta include it all. We gotta include the service center, we gotta include all the buildings downtown, how much of downtown do they take up, to Ed's point.
Yep.
You know, and how much should we be taking up? So what we wanna do out in the fairgrounds, what we wanna do out at the airport. You know, we own a lot of stuff around here.
We can.
We own some worthless stuff too, that's taking up money.
Yep.
So what can we do without and move funds to stuff that we can utilize better?
Even some of the property that, you know, just that we're renting for ag or whatever. I wanna know what we've got, and, you know, there's some of it that is probably located in some pretty usable places that could be a tool for either some sort of stakeholder partner, or we could sell to a private developer or hang on to, you know, whatever. But I think I'm fine. That's the first step is inventory, and we
find out what we
can
have.
pull the trigger on that whenever.
I think, you know, we talk about these meetings and what else we need to be doing. You know, what I like to feed into this is working sessions. All the other county commissioners have working sessions that, you know, their meetings, their televised meetings take 2 hours. And then they go into work session, which is still a public meeting. It may or may not be televised, but that's where we can just have frank conversations like this and decide what we're gonna do next, or what needs to be done. And then, you know, the other thing we never do is, we just dissected all these boards this morning. We never tell each other what we do on these boards.
I've got a whole list. Some of them are pretty informal. I'll talk to you after.
Mine's much.
Adjourned, but.
I had a meeting this morning, 9:00.
You did? Yeah, this one.
Community action.
Oh, community
Yeah, I'm
action.
on community action housing board,
Okay.
but I'm also on community action.
And
Oh,
normally
Wednesday, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, I see what you're saying. But, you know, I think that if we all know what each other's doing on these boards, you know, just kind of like, here's what I did this week, here's what I did last week, this is what I'm gonna do this week, that kind of thing. We're a lot better in tune with each other.
I want us to be on the same page too, because there's 3 of us. And a lot of the offices we work with, there's, you know, one, and letting each other know about some, and I've got a whole list here of some things, but I mean, it's informal, we can talk about it once we're just adjourned, but I think that's how we need to. Because you don't want to get into a whole conversation about ifs and buts and candies and nuts on buildings when you've got people in here. But we're not ready for all of that. We just have to have some brainstorming ideas here.
We gotta get done what we can get done. And then just seek help where we get stuff. And I think there's a lot of intellectual tools here at the table in this room, and I think we can figure things out. And then we can bounce off somebody with an already started plan, or at least a template, to help us finish, if we need to go that route.
So we want to start trying to wrap up our morning session around 11, adjourn, and then reopen.
I think we need 2 separate agendas. What can we do in the meeting? What do we have to do in the meeting that's formal, that's voted on?
Like what we did this morning.
Yeah. And that's pretty much like it is, but then we have to entertain visitors. You know, Kathy's pretty good about keeping everybody but George out of here that wants to. Nobody can handle that, so.
He's got a gun.
Yeah, Kathy does. But, you know, I think we need to talk more functionally about what we need to do and then do it.
Well, the bank building is, or I'll just say the capital projects are a great example. Because I'm fine with going through inventory assessment soon, because, you know, we're heating that whole building for the prosecutor's office. That building, when
That's
it's
upstairs.
just natural when a building doesn't get used, is when it starts to deteriorate.
Well, the HVAC system shot.
Yeah.
They use 4 units, baseboard heaters.
Yeah,
That's,
boiler system.
yeah, real efficient.
It's old, man. It's
Man,
old.
I'm nervous about that. I would just tell you that building makes me nervous just because.
You've been through it.
No, I haven't. Maybe I'll feel better or worse. I don't know if I'll feel better or worse.
Walk through.
I've been up to the prosecutor's office.
You're
That's
gonna
it.
feel worse when you go through it, especially downstairs in the mechanical room.
So it's just like, it's more than peeling back the wallpaper. That's looking back, but literally looking at the baseboard. I mean,
Building was built in 59. It hasn't had much done to it ever since. It really hasn't.
oh, it's cool. That's a unique, I mean, it doesn't feel like that's a historic time. I mean, it was 59, but,
It's not, yeah, it's in the historic district, but it's not a historic.
but that's a cool piece of, that's a cool time period
Mid-century
too.
modern.
Yeah, that's a mid-century modern. That's,
Stay out
it's
of it.
gonna be retro soon.
I won't tear the thing down.
Take it out of your place, Kathy, and put it in the front yard.
I like that. No, I like that building a lot. I just want to figure out what to do with it.
You know, I think we can put something a lot more useful and a lot more period relevant. I keep the culture and the flow of the downtown.
You start looking at the other buildings on that block, you know, and they just, that building doesn't fit.
Doesn't match up.
It might as well have a neon sign on it because.
Well, now that we've taken the Huntington signs off of it, and the clock out of the tower, I mean, it's starting to look pretty bad too.
Yeah.
These windows, I mean, if you started just looking at the cost to renovate it, I think anybody good is gonna tell you, tear it down.
We're not gonna have downtown historic society give us some pitchforks and torches for tearing down.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you this, I don't care what it looks like. Let the groups that care have input on it, because, I mean, I trust that they're not gonna paint it pink, you know? I want it to fit with, what I'm saying is, I want it to fit with the feel of the downtown. I don't know as well as some other people what that would be.
Oh, you know, the last session we had with, American Structure Point on the pavilion down in the park. What they put up there for the public meeting that Monday night was brand new to me and Devin and everybody else that was on the team. And it was just something that should have gone in Dublin. It was a modern building. It looked like it belonged in the forest somewhere. Didn't look like they are there at all. So Devin sent them a letter, said, look, we've been talking about you guys getting on board with our plan. And what we have is priorities down here instead of coming in with this Norwegian architecture.
Yeah.
And so we had a meeting after that and they did.
Good.
And there's arches on the armory. It's gotta be congruent with the armory.
Yes.
And design wise.
The whole thing, I think that's some of the public feeling toward it, those who aren't, you know, celebrating it or have concerns. It's not, I don't think that they don't want anything to change, it's just they want it to, they don't want the feel. I think people are worried about losing the feel of the park, and that's a great example of. You don't wanna put and our piece on the visitor center too, what does that look like? I haven't seen it.
That's the same thing, that's the same building. This was visitor center and the
Oh.
pavilion are joined together.
Okay, I thought there was gonna be 3 different. There was like this shelter where they were gonna have a farmer's market.
That's part of it.
Okay. I thought there was
That's
3 different structures.
And that's like, you know, when 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how long it was when they wanted to put the paint stadium down the park. Everybody had a fit because they was gonna move diamond number 1.
They're gonna move diamond number 1 with this.
Tab Avenue, it goes right down the middle of that.
I personally don't think it makes sense to have Diamond one right there.
They redone Diamond number 1 anyway. Used to be a softball diamond.
And there's Diamond 2 over behind the high school parking lot. They're gonna fix that all up.
That whole area is underutilized too, that
Yeah.
whole end of the park.
So that would be perfect. I mean, I think people just have to see that and they'll jump on board. It's just like when we did the Carlisle building, everybody was, what are you putting money in?
Well, yeah.
And everything. You don't hear anybody complain about the Carlisle building.
So the thing about the park is obviously we're stakeholders of the park and this grant is administered. We're the lead applicant, but it's a city park, you know, it's not squarely in our, that's honestly when people have brought concerns about it, I've appreciated that, but, you know, at the end of the day.
That's what I told them. I said,
It's
it's
up
up
to
to
the city.
I said, that's what I told them. I said, it's up to the city what they're gonna do. I said, it's not
We
really.
can put our fingers on
Two cents on
something
it,
and stuff, but
You know, and then plus the city put in, what, 10 years ago, the, what they call that, community plan, they call it.
Yeah.
And that was part of it. And then that built off the plan that he put together for the park, you know, years ago. And it just can kind of morph into more modern ideas, but it's still relatively the same. There's parts that Brad put into the master plan for the park that are rolling into this one. So, just, we gotta get it done and get it done right. But we work together on that. You know, Luke's pretty receptive to, we control the money on that.
Yeah.
That's what we're.
Yeah.
We got the loan, we manage the money and we do what they want. But by the same token, we're just, Devin's got a wealth of knowledge that the city doesn't have since Austin.
Yeah.
So we gotta help them out.
On another note, we talked this morning about the snow days
Mhm.
and how to pay.
Yeah, that's,
Staff.
thanks for reminding me. The 2 days off, people get paid for that, taking that out of general fund, we making them use comp days if they got comp days, we're not paying it.
that's another thing about policy that we probably need to develop a real policy on. I hate for people,
I think you still get paid.
that's what I think.
They still get, you still,
Paid regular time, isn't it?
regular time, yes. But it's tough when the guys from the maintenance crew had to come in at 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah, but that's your.
But they
you know?
got paid overtime for coming in, am I right, Brian?
Well, that depends on what you decide.
No.
I mean, I don't know how you can tell them to work when you're paying everybody else to stay home and they have to work because they're essential. I mean, they would have, on a normal day, they would have got their 8 hours and then they would have got either overtime or comp time or however they want to take it.
If they come in at 2:00,
Three,
if they came in at 2:00, can we pay them overtime from the 2:00 till 7,
No.
8 o'clock?
until they went home. So the first morning, they came in at 2 a.m. They worked until, I think, 8 o'clock and then they went home. So that would be their overtime. Now, yesterday, they came in at 2 o'clock and I had them, they cleaned everything up downtown and at the service center because the service center was still operating. Maybe not JFS, but you know, the other place, the state agencies were, so. So they worked from 2 a.m. yesterday until almost 3 o'clock yesterday. So they worked 12 hours overtime yesterday.
So they came in at 2:00 Monday morning.
They came in at 2 o'clock Monday morning and 2 o'clock Tuesday morning.
And they got, what time did they go home Monday morning?
Monday morning, they went home around 8
AM, yeah.
a.m. They came in at 2 a.m. and left it at 8 a.m.
Okay, so they got paid overtime from 2
to 8.
to 8. But they still should get paid.
Well, that would have been, so what I'm saying is that's overtime pay.
And
they
got
would have
free-
gotten 8 hours anyway.
Right.
I mean, if they hadn't gotten a snow
So
day,
they would
they'd have
get-
worked 8 hours
So,
too.
so they get that also,
Well, I
Not
think
as
they should.
overtime, not as overtime.
Yeah.
Just-
not as overtime.
That's where, I mean, I appreciate those guys.
They get overtime for coming in from 2 to 8. Then 8 o'clock, they went home. They still
They
get
get
paid,
straight time for the rest.
they get straight time for the,
Till 3 o'clock.
During business
until 3 o'clock when they go home.
Yeah.
But then when they came back in
2
Tuesday,
a.m.
2 a.m.,
That would have been their overtime too.
overtime
And
from
their
2 to 8
8
o'clock,
to
what time they
3,
come in.
or
and
6
then-
to 3 or whatever,
Yeah.
7 to 3, I think.
Yeah.
7 to 3.
So they get paid overtime from Monday, 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. and
And then
Tuesday.
Tuesday, and then this morning, they came in at 5.
give them overtime for that.
The only reason they came in this morning was to make sure there was salt down and, because everything had been cleared off already. Instead of coming in at 2, they came in at 5.
Well, they would get overtime for that
They
anyway.
would get 2 hours overtime for that.
So,
Yeah,
that's
'cause
fair.
they're working. I mean, they're working today, doing what they did yesterday as overtime, but they're doing it today as straight time.
That, those time periods that are, it's usually that's where overtime based at in a manufacturing plant. If you're in from 3 to,
It's like a
11,
shift, yeah.
you're getting a certain shift differential, and then at 11 to 3, 11 to 7, 11 to 8, you're in another one. So it's the hours that dictate that level, but, and we just.
And if they get stuck, if somebody doesn't come in and they work an extra 8, they get that overtime.
I mean, it sucks that they have to come into work when other folks don't. I think that's why the remote work, you wanna,
Well,
that's why you wanna have a policy on, cause
How
you
many
don't
people
wanna.
were on remote work?
But the thing
Yeah,
was,
well, that.
but the thing was, is they got paid Monday and Tuesday yesterday. They got paid Monday from 8 to 3, got their paid regular 8 hours, am I paying? Plus they got overtime from 2 a.m. to 8 a.m. So they got paid just like everybody else for not being here.
Right.
For their 8
Exactly,
hours.
it's the same, all across the board for
But
that.
then they get their overtime again for Tuesday morning.
It's over and above their normal hours.
Well, they probably will.
But then they also work Tuesday.
So here's the deal. So if they come in, their normal hours, what they work now are 7 to 3:30. So their overtime, when they came in at 2 a.m., will only go to 7.
Mhm.
Right.
Because the regular time starts at 7.
Yeah.
And if they were here, just like they are today, they came in at 5. So their overtime ran from the time they came in until their regular shift starts. So that's what they would do on Monday. Even though they work till 8, if they normally come in at 7, then they only get the overtime from 2 to 7.
2 to 7.
And then the regular time would have been from 7 to 3:30.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought was fine.
But then you had yesterday that we was off, but they were here the whole day, am I right?
Right. Well, yeah, they came in at 2 a.m. and they worked through the whole day.
I would just,
So then we have to,
That's a little different because they weren't here. I don't know how to do that one. That one's different.
my opinion, just my opinion, I'm not speaking for you guys. Yeah, but these conversations happen a lot in my other employment because it's a power utility, so you've got guys, obviously, doesn't matter the conditions.
They're
Most
out.
of the conditions, they're going out.
Yeah.
But then you've got other folks who, like me, I can do my whole job from my computer.
Yep.
There's not a better answer than, sorry, I mean, that's your job and that's mine. I think that's why we need a remote work thing. But what I was saying is if whatever their normal hours are, 7 to 3:30, that's their normal pay. Anything they worked outside of those hours or anything they worked in addition to the 40-hour work week or,
That's a better way to put it. Anything over the 40-hour work week.
yeah, or out of a work day. So you
Yes.
could technically,
Because yesterday, what they would have done was, if they didn't think they were gonna be paid overtime for doing all that extra snow removal,
they left
they'd have left at
at
7
7 o'clock and
and said,
nothing,
well, it's a snow day.
I'm getting paid anyway.
We've already cleared off everything that's essential. They're gonna say, well, the airport could wait another day because it's not essential.
who makes a determination on what essentially.
Well, I did yesterday, because I didn't think it ought to be down for as many days as
Well, I agree. I think it's an airport. It ought to be.
It needs to be cleaned off.
There's, I don't have any problem with combat pay here because.
Right. I'm
You
with
know,
you.
if you take their whole time on Monday and Tuesday, time.
So would they get,
They did a great job.
so would they get overtime from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. when they left?
Yeah.
Plus overtime from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
In my opinion, they would.
To me, that's over and above.
They would get- they would get- they would- On
On
Monday, they would get their regular pay. They would get overtime from 2 to 7. From 7 to 3, they would get their regular time pay.
Right.
But Tuesday, they would get overtime pay from 2 a.m. to 3 p.m.
And then there's 7 to 3:30 regular pay.
Yes. No.
We say the same thing.
No, that's not what you're saying.
They
That's
wouldn't
what
get
I'm
their,
saying.
they wouldn't get their regular pay from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Tuesday, on yesterday. They would get overtime for that.
For the whole thing.
From 2 a.m. when they came in till 3 p.m. Because nobody else worked,
Right,
but they were here.
okay.
So there's no sense in just giving them regular pay for their 8 hours they worked when you didn't have to work on your,
Yeah, that's
You got
what I'm
paid.
saying.
This,
I got you.
So on Monday, they came in from 2 a.m.
to 7 a.m. they got overtime.
Well, no, how long were they here
They
total?
really were here till 8.
8 o'clock, so 2 a.m. to 8 o'clock, time and a half.
Okay,
From 2 a.m. to 3 p.m.,
yesterday.
time and a half,
Okay,
the whole time.
okay.
Is that what you're saying too? Because I thought I heard something different for Monday out of you.
You can't, if they,
you're wanting to do all of Tuesday as time and a half.
all of Tuesday should be time and a half.
I don't know. I'm open to that because I think they did.
All of Monday should be time and a half from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. they got paid their 8 hours, right?
Okay.
Because they left at 8 o'clock, am I right? Tuesday.
They
Right.
let, yes,
So they won't get overtime for that
hour.
hour.
But you're paying them time and a half for the Tuesday.
From paying time and a half for Tuesday because they was here, they didn't leave.
Right.
So they would get their regular pay, plus they would get that half.
And they work without much of a break either.
Because everybody else, use Kathy as an example.
Yeah.
She didn't come to work, but she's still gonna get her 8 hours paid for yesterday.
At 2:30, they took a break to finally go get a sandwich. And I said, I had the guy out there moving the snow for me, and I said, well, are we going back out? You guys wanna try to finish it today? And they were looking at me cross-eyed because they'd been there since 2.
No,
They said, no, I'm going,
going.
we'd rather go home, we'll finish it tomorrow. And I said, well, I just didn't want to leave him out there. Because I wasn't paying him to do that. I just asked him as a favor to come do it.
But I think, I agree with paying them
Time and a half.
time and a half. My trip up on paying them time and a half is the actual policy of it, of like, just having something defined about what do we do when this type of thing happens. Because I would think that the airport is essential, and we want to get stuff cleaned up quickly.
Well, if we hadn't have done what we did yesterday, it would be Friday probably before we got it open.
If that, because it's not gonna melt away.
No, well, they're out there today. We did a bunch yesterday, but there was a bunch more still to do.
I just don't. It's like the sheriff's department's contract. The sheriff's department contract is you don't get overtime. If you're 40 hours of work week. Say if you worked day shift at sheriff's department and got forced over to do second shift, you get 8 hours for that, 8 hours overtime pay for that 8 hours you work for second shift.
Right.
But if you call in Tuesday, you don't get that overtime.
Yeah, it's either over 8 hours in a day or over 40 hours.
I just don't like that. Because my sick leave that I used It's part of my 40 hours a week. So I should get time and a half for that 8 hours I worked overtime.
Yeah, I understand.
But I'm a union guy, so that's why.
You know, so are the maintenance guys, so.
I know, but that's.
They're not.
But they're not, but I'm,
Yeah, but
yeah,
If
but,
you treat them like they're
Yeah.
union, they will never turn you.
Exactly.
So you just
but that's
leave
my
them.
thing, is
So-
I don't like to think for the sheriff's department, because if you go in, if you have 8 hours overtime, and you call in sick during that pay time, you don't get paid that 8 hours overtime.
So getting back to the maintenance guys, so Tuesday, we're taking 2 AM to 3:30 PM when they left.
3 o'clock.
All of that is time and a half.
Right,
So Monday, you're saying 2 o'clock to 7, and then.
they get paid regular time from 7 to 3.
3:30, yeah.
So why not, but they work till 8. So why aren't we paying that 7 to 8?
You can't get paid for overtime.
We did it the next day.
I know, but for that hour, they're already here.
But they weren't.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go to 8 o'clock.
So that's,
That's what I'm
Let's
saying.
go to 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because everybody else made regular time from 7 o'clock to 3:30.
They actually
3 o'clock,
worked.
yeah,
I think we need to reward that.
so we're.
To 8 o'clock.
Got time and a half covered.
Time and a half.
So they're still gonna get their regular 8 hours for Monday, because that's what everybody else got.
Right,
Then they're gonna get overtime from 2 to 8,
2 to 8, right.
okay? And then on Tuesday, are they getting their regular 8 hours?
They're getting their regular 8 hours
And then they're also getting paid from 2 AM to 3
to
in
3.
overtime, whatever, I mean,
Right.
however many hours that is.
Yes.
I think that's fair, and I think that it doesn't trip us up on. I just want it to be logical, you know, to fit with-
Set precedent.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean, it's like, what's the difference between Monday and Tuesday, you know?
If they were working, it would be different, but they weren't here and everybody else is getting paid to be off.
Yeah.
That's the difference. If they were here like they are today, you know, they came in this morning at 5, they're gonna get their couple hours overtime for that. And then when they started at 7:30, they're gonna get straight time for, even though they're doing the same job they did yesterday, they wouldn't have been here.
What would be the next steps to start writing, creating some actual policy?
We have
manuals
a
about-
2009 personnel manual. That's where we started, and making updates to that. And I have a copy of that if you want.
Yes, sir, we should. I mean,
Yeah,
we need to speak to remote work and I personally don't think we need to implement remote work hybrid schedule. There's situations where it may make sense to be remote because of some sort of emergency. What does that look like? What does the IT situation of that look like? You know, all of those things.
And how many people we have that would do remote work?
Oh, I think there's a lot of, in the different departments.
No, I'm talking about for the commissioner's office.
Well,
You know, the departments of the commissioners.
Mhm.
There's a
I mean,
lot.
I did remote work yesterday, Monday,
Well, I just
Sunday.
said, you and Kathy
I mean, I do it all the time.
I just said, you and Kathy do it all the time.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know,
I'm sitting there getting emails on Sunday, we don't, you know.
I mean, I don't expect you to answer them.
I answer,
I mean, if I've got something emergency, I might send it, but otherwise, I'm just sending it for information so you know what we're doing. And
Right.
I know that we're gonna meet on Monday and we'll talk about it then. So I'm just trying to give you a heads up before that.
I know that, but just for the commissioner's part of it, it'll be you two,
Probably Devin.
Devin.
Does work, I'm sure.
And that was
Kim
my
probably
reason.
does work.
Kim sent an email at 10:06 last night.
Yeah,
Telling us about that grant.
I sent that. 10:06.
Yeah, but she sent it to you at 10.
No, that was a couple days ago.
Yeah.
That was a few days before. No, I was working late.
That was long after hours too.
Yeah.
To my point.
Right,
She
yeah.
works, you know.
That's great work on her part. You know, we asked her to do that and she never really messed with that water pollution loan fund, but she did not. I mean, that's $4 million more that we possibly are gonna get. With hopefully not having to repay it either.
You know, that's where we keep talking about merit increases and things like that. That to me is part of merit. Award is to show going over and above, and that should be factored into increases rather than compensated on a as needed basis. And where you're getting paid by the hour and stuff,
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Yeah. Your salary,
but your salary is your salary and you expect the job to get done. There's gonna be those times where you have to shoot emails from home, answer phone calls, whatever.
Yeah.
As an understanding of the job.
and that's the benefit of salary is sometimes when you got your stuff done, and it's Friday at 3:30 and your stuff's done, you know, no reason to sit there.
Hey, I tell them about everything.
I was watching the number one
They never do
basketball
it.
team in
They
the
never
country
do it.
get beat by 30 points last night while I was sending that.
I
See that?
I usually get on.
Tennessee
Sunday
got
afternoon
beat by
and-
Florida by 30 points.
Yeah.
It won't be number one today.
Anybody got anything else?
I've had enough on this one.
Anita? Kevin, got anything, Brad?
You adjourning?
Well, whenever somebody needs to make a motion,
I move to adjourn.
Oh, you got it?
I need a second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye.